Hello, I'm Diaspora.
So I reached out to another friend of mine. I said, look, I need to go on vacation somewhere. Where should I go? He said, go to Africa. And not only am I going to go, I'm going to explore a new country. So I went to Tanzania, South Africa, Namibia, Mali, Senegal, Morocco, Liberia, Namibia, Kenya, the Voodoo Festival in Ouida, Gambia, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria. It's been a beautiful experience, just learning more about our culture, our indigenous culture. So Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. I'm in search of my roots. In finding that, I would experience my Uhuru, which is freedom. I'm out.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope your Sunday here in Atlanta. It was raining this morning. It was actually storming this morning, but the rain has dried up. It has dried up now, and it's getting nice. Spring is here. Spring is coming, and I am looking forward. Well, we're already in spring. I mean, the weather, because early last week, it was cold, but now it is warming up. I am looking forward to the beautiful weather. All right. Like I said, I am a 2-season guy. All right. Spring and summer. You can have fall and winter. Okay. I don't need the snow. I don't need to go to Black Ski Week in Colorado and skiing down the slopes on snowboards. I don't need none of that. I would rather be at the beach versus the snow. But hey, if to each his own. If you like the snow, by all means, you go out and appreciate and enjoy the snow. All right. I appreciate the sun. All right. So anyways, guys, do me a favor, hit the like button. That is your price of admission, is to smash that like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. Announcements. If you have not bought the documentary In Search of Uhuru, again, if you have not bought the documentary In Search of Uhuru, please go to searchforuhuru.com. Please go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. I will greatly appreciate it. I will greatly appreciate it. This is the best. This is the #1 documentary, when it comes to Black American and Africa engagement. No one has a documentary, or I'm sorry, a story. And we're going to go ahead and say documentary. No one has a story like mine. So please go and support. Go to search. Daryl Lee, have you bought my documentary yet? Daryl Lee in the chat room, have you bought my documentary yet? Have you bought my documentary yet? Daryl Lee, have you bought the documentary yet? If not, go to searchforuhuru.com right now and buy the documentary. I will greatly appreciate it. Go and support the documentary. Okay, Daryl, go buy the documentary, brother. Go and buy the documentary. Owning It with Iola. Oh, I know she got it. Shout out to Iola. Oh, shout out to Ola. Shout out to Ola. I know you bought it, Ola. My bad. I just noticed your screen name. So your username. So I know you got it. I appreciate it. Ola, when are you dropping the interview? You should be dropping the interview soon. But guys, go to searchforwhowever.com about a documentary. Also, tours. We are rolling to Sierra Leone in April. Again, we are rolling to Sierra Leone in April 19th to the 30th for the Jazz Festival. I'm sorry. For the citizenship ceremony, Sierra Leone citizenship ceremony. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival. But Sierra Leone, we are rolling to Sierra Leone April 19th through the 30th. April 19th through the 30th. Come and check us out in Sierra Leone. We will love to have you guys come and have a good time. Citizenship is available to those who qualify. Citizenship is available to those who qualify. So please come to Sierra Leone. Come and join us. Come and have a great time. Come enjoy the most beautiful beaches on the planet. One of the most beautiful coastlines on the planet. Look at this coastline. This is Sierra Leone. This is real footage. This is river number 2. We're going to go to river number 2. We're going to eat lobsters and have mojitos. Oh, man, the best food, the best drinks. What else? What else must I say? Come to Sierra Leone, April 19th through the 30th. Senegal, May 21st through the 30th for the Jazz Festival. Senegal, May 21st through the 30th for the Jazz Festival. Come hear some great music. You know, if you want to come and do the stank leg in Senegal and the butterfly and Tootsie Roll and the two-step, you know, come on. In Senegal, come on. Come to Senegal. Come do all that at the Jazz Festival. Also, last but not least, well, actually 2 more. Do we have Nigeria? Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. So come to Nigeria. That's August 6th through the 15th. And then we have Zanzibar November 12th through the 21st. Again, we have Zanzibar November 12th through the 21st, Zanzibar. I'll do a whole nother show announcing everything. But yeah, come to Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival. Come out there, come do the stank leg and the blazing hot. Come to Nigeria with us in August. And guys, when you go to Donfo, if you have any questions, go to donfo.africa and do me a favor. When you message me, include your phone number. Again, when you message me, include your phone number and I will holler back. So there we go, y'all. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Let's jump into today's topic. All right, so we'll open up the lines here in about 20 minutes. All right, you know, before we open up the lines, we'll go to a commercial break, and then we'll take it from there. Somebody said impatient already. They sure do tolerate colonizers much longer than us. Well, no, the African countries have fought and had their independence. Okay, and no, it's not the same. It's not the same. They sure do tolerate colonizers much longer than us. I disagree. Okay, outside of business arrangements, I disagree. I completely disagree. You know, and me myself included, Black Americans, we were coming to Africa. No, we've been returning longer than that, and actually contributing and building infrastructure on the level of the colonizer, in quotation marks, and the Chinese. Then yeah, it'll be a different outcome. Let me start off with this disclaimer. Okay, let me start off with this disclaimer. Everything don't need to be broadcasted and put up on YouTube. You don't have to do an expose on everything and everybody. Again, you don't have to do an expose or expose. I'm exposed. This brother, I'm gonna expose this sister. We go expose them. Everything don't need to be called out and put on YouTube. Certain things need to be handled behind the scenes or off camera. There we go. Everything doesn't need to be put on camera. We love, what I'm noticing in Africa, we love to go over there and we love to expose. I'm going to call this brother out. I'm going to call this sister out. I'm going to expose. I'm going to get them on camera. They scamming me. They're just like, oh, man. And I'm not saying all the times, but from what I'm noticing, the majority of the time, the person that's calling out the so-called scammer, that person's story isn't even straight. Like, that person's story isn't even straight. There's two sides to each story. You have to listen to both sides, and then in the middle is the truth. The truth lies in the middle. And what I'm saying, all of this unnecessary gossip, arguing, I'm exposed. All of that and putting all that up on YouTube does not, as far as Black people as a collective, does not help our objective or case. Majority of Black people who are returning to the continent want to repatriate and they want to get citizenship and passports. But let me tell you this, all right? You have governments. Again, you have governments who sit here and watch all this drama and are like, listen, is it worth giving these, we love our brothers and sisters, but there are conversations that are had. If you notice, the only country that has a formal process to reintegrate Black Americans into their country via DNA and is upfront and is documented, is Sierra Leone. Again, yeah, everybody wants to be a damn investigative reporter now, and that's fine. But again, do you have to put everything on YouTube? Sierra Leone is the only country that pretty much has a citizenship program for the diaspora. You take your DNA test, comes back Sierra Leone, hit me up, taking a group in April, you get your passport. Where's my passport at? All right, my Sierra Leone passport is upstairs. A lot of countries are hesitant to offer that because of the drama that takes place on YouTube every day by our people on the continent. In fact, when it comes to the drama, and I watch African YouTubers, I watch the Diaspora YouTubers around the continent, we are bringing the most drama to the continent. And I'm not saying other groups of people don't contribute to dysfunction and drama, but these other groups of people don't have to grab a camera and post everything online. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to put everything online. You guys don't understand. Juanita, what you need, Juanita, you need, with your living DNA results, you need to find a DNA relative that's in Sierra Leone that links you back to Sierra Leone, like a DNA match. A DNA match of someone who's in Sierra Leone. Like, everything doesn't have to go on camera. We love the drama too much. And then you call out one person, then the person that does the calling out, we find out that you somewhat shady too. So what I'm saying is, guys, listen, a lot of this could be handled as adults. I mean, you have to understand, even the African children. Stop the show. In the words of O'Shea Du Jackson, stop the show. The damn African children aren't acting this immature. Again, the African children aren't acting this immature. Now, of course, I'm not justifying any alleged scammers or people who are stealing. But that needs to be handled, in my honest opinion, behind the scenes. Again, that needs to be handled off camera. And then, when you do it the right way and you get a judgment or you have actual receipts, real receipts, then yeah, if you want to put it out there, put it out there. But a lot of this is he said, she said. Again, a lot of this is he said, she said. No, Juanita, what you need to do is when you go on Living DNA or like Ancestry.com or 23andMe, what you need to do is there's a way where you can find your DNA matches. I know that's how it works with Ancestry.com. And if you have any DNA matches, like second cousins or third cousins that pop up who are in Sierra Leone, then we have an argument. Say that again, Aisha. You can upload your test from other places on Living DNA. Yeah, get with Aisha. I just need something that you have a family member or a relative in Sierra Leone. So yeah, that's all I'm saying. But we'll talk. Juanita, I got your phone number, Juanita. I'll call you. Juanita, I'll call you. Shout out to Juanita, everybody. Juanita, she helps me out behind the scenes. Shout out to Juanita. I'll give you a call, Juanita, today or tomorrow. Yeah, Juanita, but it has to be a specific person or individual, not just Minde. It has to be a specific individual. Like on Ancestry.com, I have like cousins with names and profiles that I'm linked to via DNA. Yeah, so guys, but that's all I'm saying. Everything don't need to be on TV. That's all I'm saying. What else? So we need to cut down on the drama. But if you have a real case, listen, I'm not in a position to tell you how to handle it. All I'm saying is the way the diaspora is handling their beefs on the continent, I don't see any other group of people on the continent handling it in this manner. There we go. There we go. That's to sum it up. The way we are handling our beefs on the continent, our misunderstandings, I don't see any other group of people handling it in this type of way. And trust me, I have had my disagreements with people on the continent, but my first reaction has never been, let me go grab my camera, let me put this person on blast, let me hit the record button, let me load it up to YouTube, let me call these people out, let me do expose. It was simple. It's just, we talk offline, we handle it, we don't, we come to agreement, we go our separate ways. That's it, that's all. That's simple. Like the only, I would say somewhat expose, if you want to call it that, was back in like 2013. I was so frustrated with the service from Ethiopian Airlines. I was so frustrated with the service from Ethiopian Airlines and their the condition of their planes. I was flying from Dakar, Senegal. I'm sorry, I was flying from Mali. I was flying from Mali to I'm supposed to go to Nairobi, but I went to Addis Ababa instead. I lost my luggage, but the plane was so filthy, and that was a 4.5 hour flight. I recorded, I posted it up. But the thing is, I still fly Ethiopian Airlines here and there. And even then, Ethiopian Airlines reached out to me. We had a conversation. We worked things out. And, you move on. And, you move on. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. I'm going to put the link in the chat room. And if you want to call in, you can tap in. Again, if you want to call in, you can tap in. And we'll be right back.
Alexis here, coming to you with an awesome sale of 25% off when you use promo code OHURU25 at alexisfowler.com. I provide services like digital art, logo designs, packaging designs, web designs, social media flyers, and much more. If you're an entrepreneur with a business or a startup company, make sure you take advantage of this opportunity, getting 25% off when you use promo code OHURU25 at alexisfowler.com.
Really love this brand because first off, the products are quality. I have amazing hydration. You guys can see the shine. You guys can see the definition.
Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, Dinas, I was gonna say, good evening. How are you doing anyway? You all right, bruv?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I was just saying, to be honest with you, what I learned from the continent, those little boys that make a little noise about African Americans coming, to their ancestral land, I just hate it and they're jealous. And, you should just basically just keep them miles away from your tour, because these people are nobodies anyway. If you want to come to Africa, or African American want to come to their ancestral land where they was taken off, especially being a proud Mende or a proud Fuller like Brandon, is your right. Do not let anybody, any human soul take that from you. For the fact that the Sierra Leone government is actually providing, the pathway for you guys, for African Americans back to their ancestral land, that should be seen as a blessing. And I'll advise everybody that got the right mind frame, I pray for them to succeed and, make their way back to their ancestral land and help bring positive in the continent. I mean, coming to bring positive in a continent or in a community is not always about bringing money or coming there to build skyscrapers or, being coming there with an engineer expert. It's about bringing the positive and adding value into the community, that you're coming into. So, people coming to do that in Africa, they're 100% welcome. Like people like you, Brandon, and we're watching. We're Africans, we know who is good and who is not good for the continent. So I'm definitely will be welcoming people like you with two hands. And the African Americans that come in to film every little drama, they're not helping the situation. But I think overall, these are minorities. That's my take. But other people might be, might having something different to say about it.
Go ahead. Go hard, Gambia. Go ahead.
Yes. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man.
Yeah, when I saw, seldom do I get on the platforms and things like that. However, I'm someone that has been, at the top of the movement here in the Gambia. And I came over 8 years ago. And prior to the majority of people coming over, I was training people here, preparing them to receive people coming into the country. So I've trained over 100 people. And people who won't know me and watch me, anytime that I do turn my camera on, you'll see me around a bunch of people. But in any case, we were able to leverage that. And when you came about 3 years ago, you came, I just missed you by a couple months. And Watermeyer was here as well when you guys came and you saw Juliet. As soon as you left, that's when I started working with Juliet. And I worked with her for about 9 months. You understand what I'm saying? So I was there when her channel went from just a couple thousand to about 35,000 before I left. But in any case, like everybody else, I came over because I wanted to see what all the hype was about. I came over in 2015 by myself, and I started investing here, and we were doing very well. We were doing very, very well prior to everyone coming. And then, when I got involved with Juliet, it just went to a whole nother level. It was all new to everybody, the attention and, and then the money when, land sales and everything starting to come in and things like that. And everybody know here in Gambia, after I was with Blackson, I went to Art Cafe, and there was a problem, a business, a feud between our two camps that, like you said, a lot of things that go on with business do not need to be placed on YouTube. You understand what I'm saying? Because people have misunderstanding in businesses. And even if you have a grievance, right? You want to be able to, when you go before the judge or you go before the court or the authorities, you don't want to have a track record of, going out there, gossiping. And I don't want to get into all of those things, but I'll tell you this right now. We have a $3 million lawsuit in the court because of our activities here in the Gambia. It should be
what court in $3 million lawsuit?
In the superior, in the high court here in the Gambia.
Okay.
We just initiated a lawsuit for $3 million for all of that stuff that took place a few years ago, and it wasn't the ones that went.
What took place?
There was a whole campaign, a defamation campaign that took place against our business here. We had over 500 when I left the first organization, and I don't want to put names out there and things like that, but anybody that know me know the situation, and I've said enough to lay a foundation without being a part of the problem. So when I left the first organization, I went to another organization, and that organization began to blow up. But we were doing things the right way, and we were able to get about 500 people, 500 community members that filled out, our application. We had 250 investors, all right, 250 investors, and we had 50 investors that had executed investments here based on what we were producing. And these weren't stupid, silly people. We have contracts. Everything was in place. We had a whole program in place to receive people because I was here and I was successful in doing it. Even when I went to Juliet, I went to her. I had 4 people working with me already because I have business in the States. You know what I mean? So I'm not someone that came over here and I need the community to support me here. I came over here and I brought my business over here and was able to outsource that, lay the foundation, and integrate into the community here. Everybody know I have a large family here. I have 4 children here. I have another one coming any day. But in any case, we, as you said, issues that we have, it's a lot of clout chasing. People wanted to gain favor and get close to it, and many people came through this house that I'm in right now. Everybody that's somebody here in this movement been through my house, and I know them on a personal level. I've done nothing but contribute, with my own resources. You understand what I'm saying? And we shouldn't, what we're putting out there, I mean, it's just so disgraceful. And during that time, this whole, YouTube,
one second, just slow. So you have a $3 million lawsuit, and you're suing.
Correct.
What's the basis of your lawsuit for $3 million in the Gambia?
It was a campaign. Basically, it was a campaign of defamation against two my business partners. Before everyone came over here, we had an issue, and we had said that, we don't want this to spread, so we're going to have a truce, and we sat down. But when certain individuals came over here, that was exploited, and a lot of just like a lot of underhandedness, a lot of the
brother, you're all due respect, you're not being direct. So you have a $3 million lawsuit against who and for what in the Gambia, and then the
lawsuit. Okay, if you don't know, there was two young ladies that went on Go Black to Africa saying that myself and Art Kathy scammed them out of some money. If you're not familiar with that, okay. So it's those, so it's those individuals, those two individuals, in addition to my former business partner here that, supported them and led a defamation campaign against me, our Kathy, and our community of 500 people. Okay. So we shouldn't be at that point. We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be having this conversation. But the reality of it is we still have a Western mindset when we are, operating that way.
Who are you suing for $3 million in the Gambia? I'm just trying to figure out how is that going to play out. Like, somebody like,
well,
and how is that?
My first business partner, and two individuals who led a public campaign of defamation against me.
Who are the individuals? Who are the alleged individuals?
I'm not even going to say their name. I mean, anybody can do some basic research.
But Quasi, you come on here, bringing up this lawsuit. I'm sure it's public information. Like, lay it out there, bro. Lay it out there.
If you go to my page, right, it's public information. It's Juliet.
Is this Kwasi? Are you Kwasi?
It's Juliet. Let me finish speaking to Dynas right quick.
Okay.
Juliet Ryan, Shantae White, and Tanya Roberts, Phoenix Rain. So known as Phoenix Rain. So and like I said, I'm not even the type of person that YouTube gossiping.
So you're suing Juliet for $3 million?
We had 250 investors, right? We took in over 6 figures in investments, 5 figures in reports. We were selling real estate reports, right? We had 2 properties. We had 6 figures in bookings for all of these people that were coming over here for Art Kathy's product. Okay, it's $3 million because we have all of the
why is it Art Kathy? Why is it Art Kathy in the Gambia?
Our people, brother. Our people, man. She left out because of all the drama, but Art Kathy was a very difficult person to handle.
Quasi, I know Juliet personally, her and Adrian, I know them, and I
know.
So I think they should be able. I know what's going on, like somewhat behind the scenes, Quasi, and you're not that clean, bro.
Yeah. See, this is what makes it very difficult for us. It's like when people like me going around defending African Americans, trying to, basically show African brothers, they're not all the same. You got man like Kwasi, because I've seen it before in different platforms, bro, over the same issue, and always, flip-flopping around and, basically talking about other stuff. You're not even African American, are you? You're from Ghana, eh?
No, sir. I'm from the tri-state Northeast. And, through the whole time, it's like, getting up here gossiping about stuff that should not made it to the platform. Donna just said it himself. A lot of this stuff not supposed to be out there. Everybody wanted me to come out there and talk about these things. And, this stuff court. My two lawyers that's handling this situation. And you want to steer the public of this drama because it's opportunity here. It's a small segment of drama.
Let's see. This is where I disagree, Quincy. I think if you're on the up and up, when you're doing business, it's normal. You're gonna have people who are going to disagree with you. And my thing is, if you're doing the work, and if people are happy, that should, your good work should outweigh the negativity. Like I give you an example. I bring people over to Africa. I had a guy who who did a whole so-called expose on me. And, because I'm on the up and up, I produce receipts. I ain't never stole nobody's money. My business is growing. So I just think you point the finger at other people. And as you say, you're claiming that they've put a dent in your business.
Hey, Donnie, if you look at the facts, I said I've been here, and I'm talking about a relationship I had with business partners who I was with 24/7, and at the time we had 20 people working, pointing the finger. All of this stuff is public, and all I'm saying is I'm a brother like anybody else that came over here looking for opportunity. And I invested here, and I'm still doing well. I didn't come over here needing anybody. So what I wanted to do is be able to help people come over. I let people into my house here. You understand what I mean? Into my house, and people that I know. You know what? I've known people for 20 years that came over here, came in my house, right? Stayed here, and stab me in the back, stab me in my back. And you're on the ground and you taught the other repass, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So, my situation is unique because it involves a lot of money. But all of this stuff is happening at a small level. That's all I'm saying. RJ and them came into the situation as a mediation to calm the situation. They did a video telling what's all going on here. But nobody really wants to address the real problem. But they want to say, listen, it's better just to duck the brother off. Let's put all the negative on the brother. It's all him. He caused all of this problem. But the facts will show in court where it should have been, where the problem lies.
For me, what I had about your case, there was a guy called Kwasi from Ghana who used to live in America that came to Gambia that was scamming African Americans. That's what I heard about you anyway, but I don't know if that's true. Now you obviously hear,
right. And what I'm sharing with you, and if you guys look at my videos, you'll see me with videos from 6 years ago. Okay, and any videos, you look through my paper. Through my my bio there, you guys can see a history from me for 20 years. I'm not a slouch. Okay, I'm used to 7 figures for a long time. You understand what I mean? So I brought my best over here, and I gave that where it really supposed to go, and that's with my family.
But you're Ghanaian, you're African American, but your family come from Ghana, no, I just have a Ghanaian name. I'm born and raised New Haven, Connecticut. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what it is. I wanted to jump on right quick, and give my personal journey experience. And like I said, it's just that's acting that way, but when we put ourselves out there and try to help people in that capacity, you got to expect that, because
It's a lot of dirty stuff going on.
Well,
Man.
my thing is more honestly, it's more to the story, and I just think
bro,
hold on, Ola. I just me personally, this is me from the outside looking in. I just think a $3 million defamation lawsuit in Gambia, filing one, it's just, in my honest opinion, is laughable. That's just me personally. You know, I just, but yeah, but good luck.
Yeah, I mean, look, like Ola that's
it's,
coming now.
It's not,
people like Ola have been
it's
arguing
not, it's not even about
trying
the
to
money.
defend people like you for years, and now you actually putting people like me at shame.
Hold on, because I have to jump off the line right quick. But it's not even but it's accountability to the people that had hopes in coming over here. There's a lot of people that were damaged from this, a personal beef or personal rift. We've been criminal investigation. I had YouTubers come to my house with the police.
Go ahead, go hard. I had to mute you all. I'm trying to hear. Go ahead, go hard.
Yeah, like I said, I have YouTubers here. It's a lot going on here. Like I'm saying, it's not a $3 million out of situation. If we get our investors' money back, I'm good with that. I wasn't even gonna go.
Let me interject real quick. And guys, I promise you, somebody in the chat room said that this was planned. That Go Hard Gambia he was. I knew he was calling. This is not true. Travel with Tay says, ask him about the $3.5 million Delasi lawsuit filed against him. Why are there so many people that were paid back? So, like I said, there's two sides. There's two sides to the story.
Brother.
And
see, that's like I said, it's a situation over here that should have never went to the out to the public like that. And I stayed away mostly from talking about. If you go to my page, you won't see anything about anybody on my page. You understand what I'm saying? But you go to other people's page, you see all type of crazy stuff, man. That I mean, we can't try to bring each other down with this U.S. mentality coming over here. But you understand what I'm saying?
So is this okay? So let me back up. Is this a $3.5 million USD lawsuit filed in Gambia?
It's a $3 million lawsuit, and
is
that's
it USD or the lawsuit? Is it USD or the lawsuit?
US dollars. We were
listen, I'm ignorant to the court system there. Please forgive me. So you could file a $3.5 million USD lawsuit in USD, but not in the lawsuit. So it's not in the lawsuit.
You can file in the lawsuit. It don't matter. No, we're talking about millions. We're talking about millions of dollars. That's what type of money that was over here. We was able to produce that in about less than a year. All of that activity, like I said, there's a lot of people that were damaged in the situation, and we want to take it before the proper authorities and bring resolution, because even to this day, you have a propaganda going out about brothers. Now you see it with RJ, and I mean, it's just too much when we're in another man's backyard.
And I agree to a point that but I don't see. But see, the thing is, I don't see. Man. Well, what I'm saying, but the difference between RJ and what you're doing, I don't see RJ. All RJ did, he came on, he produced receipts, and he left it alone. Which I think that's how you should handle it. But me personally going online bragging about a $3.3 million lawsuit in the Gambia that you filed in the Gambia.
Well, no, hey, bro, that came as a result of that sister putting that video out there. I mean, I've been taking a lot of punches, bro. So I have to go out there because there's people. I have family and friends out there, so I have to, say something. But if you look at the energy that went into trying to bring me down, bro. So I just wanted to jump in right quick, it ain't a matter.
I understand,
bro. I'm not the bragging type either.
I just think as a man, like I've had the same people. I had people come after me before, and you ignore it. You ignore it.
You gotta defend it. You gotta defend yourself, though, brother. But
you know why I don't have to, Quasi? I don't have to, because I'm gonna tell you why I don't have to. Because the people who've came after me, I look in the comment section. And there are people speaking on my behalf. Dynas is a good brother. Dynas wouldn't do that. That's not true. I did this, that, and the other, brother. So I don't have to. because
Right,
I've
right.
been
Yeah.
good to people, so good to people,
Right.
that they defend me on my behalf without me asking.
Right. Right. And brother, throughout this whole time, I sat back. I really didn't say nothing. I just focused on my family. And I was like, hey, listen, the movement, the way it's not for me. You know what I mean? I just stayed on lane. It's like, right now, all this drama that's YouTube, like you said, it shouldn't be there. It should just go to the courts and the proper authorities, because it just turned more people off than it did to inspire.
Okay. All right, brother. Well, I hope you guys work everything out. I wish it didn't, get to this point. But
Yeah,
hey,
it's unfortunate, but yeah. There's a lot of people doing a lot of positive things too, but it's just a segment of our people, and then we know how we should move in the future. So it's still better, it beats being
blow your line. Stop talking sweet. Stop talking, man. You're a fucking liar. You came to Africa to marry a lot of women. That's why you're there. You came there to deceive the people, to deceive the Gambian women. People just came there to scam. Stop talking sweet like you're very, very educated. Why did you make it in America? Why were you in the poor side of the country to deceive people? You only deceive maybe your fellow Black Americans, dog. Stop talking about all this sweet talk, all this sweet going that you have some millions.
Hey,
you got those. You have the money.
If anyone, like I just said, you're not a person that I know he's not talking to me, because I just stated that I was well off before I came here. So, this is one of the things.
How do you live? If you live well off, why are you in Gambia? If you live so well off, why are you in Gambia? You and your crew.
Why would anybody come? Why would any? See, that's the mentality.
I got to let me interject real quick. Ola, him being well off, he can live wherever he wants to on this planet. If he wants to live in the Gambia, that's his business. It's just when it comes to the lawsuit, there's two sides to every story, and Kwesi playing the victim. I'm gonna leave it right there. He's playing the victim. That's a reach. But hey, I hope they work it out. It's none of my business. But me personally, I think things should be handled offline.
You guys are attacking a man. That's not cool, man. That's not nice, man.
Go ahead, roll image. Go ahead.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I was just listening to him. I zoned out. So.
Okay. Lumumba speaks. Go ahead, Lumumba.
Yeah, well, I just need to be made abreast of the conversation. It says Gambia and Ghana drama is
no, it's just there's a lot of drama. Like Lumumba, say me and you have a beef. Me personally,
we do have a beef.
Yeah, but that's different. That's different. We already know. We already know the University of Georgia. We beat y'all ass, Lumumba, on national TV.
Hey, first off, y'all didn't beat anything. Y'all won because my man's missed the damn field goal. Don't cap and act like y'all was thorough the whole game, because as I stated, you was in the fetal position for half the damn evening. So just go right ahead.
Okay, let's get back on topic. We'll argue about football later. No, so certain, like if me and you have a beef, Lumumba, I was just taught as a man that we handle that, behind the scenes,
offline,
right?
Absolutely
offline, and then. Also, what I was taught as a man, you can never, even when it comes to women, you can never, it's a waste of time, and you can never never get into an emotional confrontation with a woman.
Right. Because you could never win.
You can't win. Win. So, nothing against my sisters. It's just,
it's a reality.
Yeah. It's just, I can't go back and forth with sisters. I'm not gonna do it.
Right. And then, even my daughter, she's 13. She's like, yeah, boys are different than girls. She even realizes that there are differences in terms of the way we behave, our modalities, worldviews, etc.
Right. So I think certain situations online, especially in Africa and the continent, especially between men and women, and men and women, should just be handled in a completely different manner, completely offline.
So I'm trying to see the connection. Are you stating that the drama that's taking place on the continent right now as a result of the diaspora's influence?
Well, see, the majority of the drama that's taking place, that's being put on the internet, is from the small minority of the diaspora. Because you don't see other groups of people who have beef on the continent who got to feel the need to post everything online.
Right. Well, and so part of that is, in America, it's this hyper consumer culture, right? To where everyone is trying to make a name for themselves by putting things on social media. And I would argue that American culture is rooted in, of course, as I said before, this concept of being a consumer, and that a lot of what's being marketed now to, of course, Black people, we can say the American public as a whole, is this concept of dysfunctionalism. Right, we see that with the reality TV shows. I mean, I don't watch the shows, but I think anytime you watch a reality TV show, you're going to find 3 core themes or concepts: hypersexuality, dysfunctionalism, and violence. Unless you're watching Flip That House, right? That's what you're going to end up getting. And so I would argue that make the argument that, when people talk about globalization, there are some that even argue that globalization is actually Americanization, right? And we even know there's a term known as African Americanization, where the African American cultural, we could say pseudo-cultural influence is, of course, becoming more prominent throughout the world. And as a result, we tend to find individuals who kind of want to signify what they see in the media regarding African American, particularly in hip hop and the R&B industry, taking on these type of mindsets and behaviors. A good example is, I think there was a musical group, and I think I can't particularly speak to where in Africa, but I think Akon was associated with them. And in the music video, they were sagging their pants, using the N-word, so on and so forth.
Right. So the point I was making, the reason why this is an issue, so, Sierra Leone is the only country that has a formal process as far as reintegrating the diaspora, them getting citizenship.
Right.
And governments watch this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I mean, why should we? There's rumblings in the background saying that they're pretty much, becoming impatient with the diaspora because of the drama.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more drama than building.
I see.
So I'm just like, keep this stuff all offline. Like, do you got to record and expose and I'm gonna expose this person and
well, then I can speak to that because when I first got to know you, there were people putting up stuff online about you on YouTube.
Exactly. Did not
right?
respond?
It was like,
well, that's what I'm saying. But did I respond?
No, you didn't. But I remember there was like one where you had did a video, you had traveled to some country. Then the person was like, well, look, this is what's going on in the country. Why didn't you mention this, Dinas Amir? You ain't no real prince. I'm like, I don't even think this dude knows you. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wow. Like, okay. Yeah. This is wild out here, man.
Yeah. And that's my point. Like, there's no need to respond. If you're doing the right thing, Lamuma, if you're on the up and up, people will respond for you.
Right.
So, like, people who have called me out, I didn't have to respond to them. There are people in the chat room. Nah, Dinas is a good dude. You got.
Right. I've had the same situation. Somebody be like, I know Bakari.
Right.
I know. I had a situation on a job once, and I can tell this brief story to where I was working security at a place. This was like over a decade ago. Matter of fact, my son was a toddler, and what ended up taking place was I was working at this place. I was working at a Job Corps, and so they had a welcome center. You got to come in, sign in, or sign out. But my supervisor said during the meeting, shift meeting, no loitering in the welcome center. Young man comes in. I would presume that he was homosexual or at least feminine leaning. And he was dancing, twerking, and everything like that. So I said, young man, we're not allowed. I was told you can't loiter. You have to sign in and sign out and leave. So one of my coworkers went and told the supervisor that I called a young man a bunch of gay slurs and so on and so forth. All of this was completely false. And one of the guys I was working with was like, I've been around him a couple of weeks now. He doesn't seem like the type of person that would even use that type of language. So like you said, when you're doing right, other people would take up for you. You don't even have to respond.
Right, exactly. So
Fact.
And that was my point to Kwesi. Why does he have to be so defensive and come out and do this show and every show he has to talk about his lawsuit? Like, listen, Kwesi, if you're doing the right thing, people will come out on your behalf and respond for you and defend you.
Hey, Danny.
As a man,
Right.
that's just me. But let me pass it to Larry. Larry.
Thanks very much. I was just going to say.
Let me say this. Nothing against Kwesi, but Kwesi's the one that called in. You know, he's the one that called in. Right? You know, I'm not calling it to any shows defending myself. You know, right. Kwesi's the one, and in fact, we didn't even bring up Kwesi. He's the one that called in. You know, like he called in. You know,
maybe it's just a cultural thing. Maybe he's just used to airing his grievances online. And obviously, I don't personally think it's a good idea, especially from a legal perspective. What happens if it goes to court and someone then starts taking clips from stream to use as evidence against him or something? I don't know. I just think it's a cultural thing. That's why he's doing it online. I mean, but best thing is just keep it in-house, keep it behind the scenes in the real world, and deal with that problem behind the scenes. Don't really give any info about it online. It won't really help. I don't think it'll help legally or socially. It doesn't help your state of mind. You're too worried, and you're worried what people are thinking. It's going to give you more stress. So that's what I think.
Yeah, go ahead, Larry. Larry, you done?
Yes, I'm done. Sorry.
Okay, African Wahala, go ahead. We'll pass it back to you, Al.
Dynasty Amir, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm good. I just came through and I seen you talking about some drama going on in Gambia, Senegal. I know about Art Kati. Well, I knew about her some years ago. Where there were some complaints and, you know, she was behaving some type of way, but that was a long time ago, like 2 years ago. Other than that, I just wanted to mention that people have been relocating to different African countries prior to social media. So prior to social media, I have known of people from all over the world, including African Americans, Jamaicans, relocating to Lagos, Abuja, living there for 20-something, 30-something years, completely integrated, speaking the language and everything. And it's not a big deal. So if people are feeling like there is any influence by some popular social media people that would maybe put them in a bad spot after relocating, it's a lie. If you want to relocate, go visit, see what it looks like. If you like it, stay there, you know, integrate, get married to the people, whatever makes you happy. Do what you have to do to make you happy. This is a big world. Everybody has the right. If you have the resources, you have the power, you can relocate to Thailand if that's your choice. You can relocate to Russia if that's what you want. You know, so that's what I have to say, man. Just wanted to say what's up to you, Dinah. It's been a while.
Man, it's been a while. Ojo Tometa.
Ojo Meta Babami.
Hey, go ahead, Al.
Isn't it Ojo Kon Pelu?
Yeah, I mean, well said.
Ojo Kon Pelu.
Yeah, Ojo Kon Pelu.
Well said, African Wahala. I mean, that's basically that's it. If people want to go to Africa, they want to go anywhere else in the world. Who are these little YouTubers out there, you know, to actually harassing people that want to get on with their life because they cannot, you know, get off their own back and, you know, behind the screen and, you know, do what the other people are doing? It's just jealousy, envy, and just bad mind. You know, if African Americans want to come to Gambia, you know, to do whatever they want to do, as long as they're not, you know, out there killing people, that's not their problem. And at the same time, as you said, that Kwasi guy, me personally, I don't believe he's African American anyway. I believe it's a Ghanaian that went to America, that came to Gambia.
Oh yeah, but we don't know. So
yeah, but that's my thought. Yeah, but basically, it's not a problem. It's never been a problem. I mean, there's loads of African Americans that have been coming to West Africa before internet days, as he was saying. I met few. You know, they actually done really well for themselves in the continent. You know, and you know who are these people? Are actually Africans that live in their own countries, telling them, "Oh, hang on a minute, I can come to America where you are, but you know what? You cannot come to Africa to your own ancestral land." That is just crazy. You know, people actually think like that are the same sort of people, that same mindset that sold us out, because they would rather have someone else to come into Africa. If there was some Indians coming to Africa, You know, you're giving them passports and stuff like that. You will not hear a single word about it. Or a Lebanese man coming to Africa, you know, taking our wealth and all our resources. They come with nothing and they leave with everything. They wouldn't say nothing about it. But once they see their own black brothers trying to do that, do the same thing, trying to achieve something, and all of a sudden they got dramas. However, people like Kwasi doesn't help though, because, you know, when people like me going around defending, you know, the right things, and I can hear, you know, for example, I'm not saying him in general exactly, but people like him in general that come to the continent and have their issues spill out on the internet without knowing the ins and outs. People already made a judgment about it, and that's a bad move. So he should stay away from the internet from now on, if I was him, and actually continue fighting his case. When he wins his case, then he can come back to Dynasty's show and say, look, Dynasty, everybody doubt me, right? This is exactly what I said. I won the case. Until then, you should just sit back. Simple as that.
He wins his case. He comes back up, and, you know, I'll be the first one to say, man, you know what, you were right. But I know what's going on because I've heard both sides of the story. So it's, you know,
I can tell you do, but you don't want to get involved.
Yeah, it's not in my place.
Yes, that's right. I already sense that.
Offline. Yeah. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna put the link in the chat room if you want to call in and add.
Yeah, hello.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna put the link in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the conversation. Please click on the link again. Please click on the link. All right, go ahead, roll image.
Yeah, the stuff that man came on, he was talking about, I know nothing about it, you know, but the man kept saying he's not Ghanaian, and the other guy keeps saying he's Ghanaian. Like,
and that's my thing. He's not. I don't know if he's Ghanaian.
I don't know, but if the man, if we don't have the facts, nobody should say it. Don't put nothing on people. I just don't like that. You know, if you don't know, you don't know. And if what the man says, we don't know him, we just leave it as that. Let him say his piece, and let everybody go their way. You know, I don't like people coming online and they feel like they can just speak to anybody anyhow they want. That's just not cool. You know, but anyways, the people that are online dealing with African Americans, Africans on the continent, there's a big gap in understanding. You know, majority, when I say majority of people on the continent don't really know what's going on online right now. You know, and most of the African Americans, when they're going to the continent, they're getting most of the information from the small minority people that are online. You know, so when they get there, they're expecting all these things, positive or negative. You know, so it's like there's a lot they expect, there's a lot they don't get, there's a lot they get. So it's a bunch of stuff mix up. But the average normal African living on the continent don't know none about people moving and migrating. They don't care. If we gotta be honest, they really don't know and they don't care. But there are people online saying, well, don't come. It's just people online. It's not a big deal, but we make small little things big deal. Like, it's not that of a big deal. This land case that's going on in Ghana, it's just one small little thing, but look how big it is, but it's just online.
Hey, Royal Image, you're Ghanaian, right?
Yeah, I'm Ghanaian. All
right, so what are your thoughts on the situation in Cape Coast?
Like I said, I don't know. I've been watching it. Go Black posted it. I watched it, and I watched the next guy, Echo Simpson. He explained a bunch of stuff about it. I don't have no thoughts. I don't know, but I'm watching. I watch everybody. I've been watching you for years. I watch everybody because I just want to know what everybody's about. You know? But a lot of the time, people online, people talk shit, and people just want money, but they pretend like they're about some charity, some good stuff. And it's like, yo, you're about money? Make money. Don't pretend like, oh, I want to help people. I want to build this. Make money. You know, do your thing, but don't come off like I want to help the people. I watch everybody. I follow everybody. You know, and I just don't understand. Like, we come online, we're just arguing. We're never coming to terms with each other, trying to figure something good for ourselves. You know, it's like, oh, you know what happened over here? It's always some dumb negative stuff. Like, I was listening to the man, like I said, I don't know, but I just feel like he wants to come on and talk. Let the man talk. You know, he's probably dealing with a life. Feel like he needs to come online and express himself somehow to relieve his stress or whatever. You know, we need to be understanding. People go to shit. We're always attacking each other all the time. You know?
No, it's not about attacking you. What you're not getting, I think you are missing the point gravely here, right? What we're trying to say is, right, the guy got ongoing case, right? And he made a claim on this platform, right? So if in his own benefit, you know, because now all what he done just now, he actually have created a cloud, yeah, you know, from the audience. You know, instead of having to spill the beans here and talk about his his issues here. You already been here. I've seen him on different platforms talking about the same stuff. Wait until this court case is finished, right? And come to the platform and say, look, this is exactly what happened. Yeah. And those doubters, I can prove you wrong. However, what the information what I saw, what I heard him saying in different platforms to what he's saying now is totally different. And you perfectly said you've been watching different channels. I don't know if you've seen him before. So I'm not here I don't defend people that do wrong. Yeah. If I think, me as a person with my own conscience, if I feel like someone is up to something wrong, yeah, regardless whether he carry my own country's name or whatever it is, I will not sit there and defend him.
But you see, you say what you feel and what you think. That's not truth. You understand?
No, but
how
you're
you
not
feel.
Him having to, if he was to come here and explain the situation in a different manner, yeah, people would have tried to understand where he's coming from. But he was explaining as a legal point of view and making accusation and defending himself. He's actually going backward and forward. He's kind of talking to himself, trying to get us to believe his story.
But that's what I'm saying.
Any honest human being will not tolerate dishonesty, right? So if you're a honest human being claiming to be a honest guy, coming near a royal image, yeah, you cannot defend dishonesty. That's the principle of a honest human being.
I do not.
Am I right or wrong?
Am I right or
wrong?
You're right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but at the end of the day, we don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you too.
I'm not saying I know. I'm not talking about what I know. That's exactly the point I'm trying to say. I don't think you listen to what I've got to say. Because we don't know the ins and outs of it, and it's a legal issue, there's no need of what he did. Because what he did, now you have created more confusion, more to talk about, yeah, to the point that we actually get more meddling to the whole issue. We don't know the ins and outs of it, right? We don't know whether he's telling the truth or whether he's lying. Yeah, until he deal with this legal issue, he can't come here and trying to clean up his own image. That's probably clean or that's probably dirty. It's just a fact.
But whatever happens, whatever he says, at the end of the day, isn't it being court for the judges to decide? So who are you? Who am I? And who are we to say he's wrong and he shouldn't say this? And why is he on
royal image? What I'm saying is there's way more to the story.
For sure.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Like I said,
black
royalty
tend to be on the verge of descending, and we can't defend undefensible, right? If you don't know something, you cannot defend it.
I'm not defending it, but you're saying you yourself don't even know. It's based on what you feel and what you think, right?
That's the reason why I don't want to hear it from him until he knows. Until we know. That's exactly what we don't want to know, because he's actually number one is legally. Anyone with common sense would advise him, don't come on this platform. If this thing is in court, as he claimed is in court, you don't come to the platform and start talking about it like
exactly. Exactly. If you have a current court case going on, like from my understanding, your lawyer should advise you to not talk about it. Be quiet.
So see, you guys are being brothers right now, right? All of you guys could have said, hey, bro, leave this. Don't talk about it right now because it's still in. See the advice. Give him. You guys need advice.
There. But I think you don't understand.
Now you guys are saying this.
You don't get it. You don't understand. You don't.
To be honest, I don't understand what I'm saying. Based on what you guys are saying right now, you guys are saying.
I think you're very confused. I'm sorry, but you're very confused.
I'm confused. I understand.
All right.
I understand what he was trying to accomplish, but it just.
But it's not gonna do anything for none of us, because the thing is still in court. He still got to go to court. So whatever he says here, positive or negative, he still got to go to court.
Right.
We won't be in court to decide.
I just think, knowing what took place, I think a $3 million lawsuit in the Gambia is laughable. and parading it around, is laughable. That's just me personally. That's my personal opinion. But hey, I could be proven wrong. He can win. And listen, if he wins, I'll be the first person to bring him on and say, you know what? I am wrong for discrediting you and not believing, in your case. Max P, go ahead. You I have to mute you because you have a bunch of voice. Max P, hold on.
Oh shit.
Max P, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Right, you know what? To be honest, Joe, I've only come in the last 5 minutes. So I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend like I know exactly what is going on, which is why I'm just kind of listening. Yeah, so I can't really say that because I don't really know what the discussion is about specifically. So yeah, if you want to let me know, then I can add. But yeah, I've just come on within the last 5 minutes. So yeah, I'm not totally clued up today.
Basically, what we're trying to say is,
hold on 1 second. Go ahead, Blue. Unmute yourself, Blue.
Sorry.
We'll get back to you, Max. Go ahead, Blue.
Hey, what's up, Dynast? How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Go ahead.
All right, cool. So yeah, as far as the title, the drama on the continent, never been to the continent, but I have been interested lately, so I've kind of just been following what's been going on, get my ones and twos together as far as people that are actually there and get their feedback and stuff. I do agree with what you guys said earlier. I mean, the drama does kind of leave a bad taste in people's mouths.
Blue, when you say get your ones and twos together, like what do you? Oh, he left. Oh, he fell off. Okay, guys, links in the chat room again. Link is in the chat room if you want to call in. You're more Max P. Are you Nigerian or Ghanaian?
I'm going in, bro.
Ghanaian. What are your thoughts on what's going on in Cape Coast?
All right. Okay. All right. Where do I even begin? So what I heard personally, yeah, because like I reached out to like some family members who kind of like in and around like the government side of things, yeah. And how can I say? All right, the problem is you see when people put out videos, and it's a natural thing, when people put out videos, a lot of the times they will put it out from one perspective, or like say from one side's scenario. They don't really give a balanced view, or they don't really have the information that would help to make like a proper judgment on it. So like I've seen the videos and stuff, like because someone mentioned like Go Black. I've seen his video in Echo Simpsons. I've seen his videos as well. And this thing here where like people put something out and say, oh yeah, they did this, they did that, they did this, they did that, they put stuff like that out, and you don't actually hear from the other side to get a better idea of what was going on. And as you know, when you put stuff out like that, what people tend to do a lot of times, I don't know whether it's for hits or whatever, is they'll put out like some sensational like headliners there, video title, and then people just run for that, because a lot of times people just take that in and just go off of what the video's titled. So a lot of times with stuff like this, what you tend to learn like over time is a lot of times it's good to like just sit back, like take stuff in rather than just speaking off of the bat, especially when you don't have anywhere near enough information to know what's going on. So with regards to this thing specifically, yeah, like I saw the video, like that Go Blacks was one of the first that I saw. And like if you've got a certain type of mindset, when you see something like that, you're just gonna assume, oh yeah, like they're just taking people's land, and like from gathering some kind of information from the other side, it weren't necessarily
right. Exactly, both sides of the story.
Yeah.
Right.
So like, first of all, and I think it's kind of dumb when people say it, but I keep hearing these things like, oh yeah, they're targeting African Americans. Like it had nothing to do with that. Secondly, again, I don't know all of the information, but I've got it on like good authority that like the person who had their like it wasn't actually a property or home, to my knowledge. It wasn't actually a home, it was a resort. And the person who they're titling as owning the land isn't the person that actually owned the land in the first place. They were linked to it, but they didn't own the land. Now, from what I've been told, is that the people that own the land, or the organization that owned the land, yeah, there were certain terms and conditions that they had to follow through over the period of time that they've owned the land, which is quite a few years. It's not like they bought the land recently. Over time, certain ones of these conditions weren't met. So the other side tried to get in contact, build a dialogue, and communicate to say like, you know, this needs to be done, this hasn't been done, etc., etc., etc. And there was a miscommunication. There wasn't even a miscommunication, it was lack of communication in regards to the two sides or the two parties coming together. Over time, this perpetuated, and due to lack of contact, certain things then took place. That is what I do, like, from good sources. That's the other side of the argument from what I've been told. But what I can say, like, it had nothing to do with targeting people because they were African Americans. There's other like stuff that people seem to be getting off on. Do you know what I mean? But then again, as you guys know, all it takes is for someone to post a video, put a name on the video, and certain people just go with that without even having an idea of what's going on. Like another brother said in here, yeah, like for someone like me, who's been, because right now I'm in the UK, but I've been like going back and forth to Ghana for over 20 years, yeah. What a lot of people don't realize is that, like brother said in here not too long ago, is that people have been going to Africa from the diaspora for years. Do you get what I'm saying? But it's the social media thing. What's happened is because of the social media world that we live in now, yeah, people are acquiring a lot of information, like their information off of that, good and bad, and just assuming that this thing is something new where like people have started going back to Africa. A lot of people go back to Africa from the diaspora over the past 20, 30, 40 years, and they haven't had these issues. Now, yes, there are scenarios where you can meet people that ain't good, but that's like anywhere. It's like when I go to America. When I go to America, I don't go there like not knowing what's going on. And if I go there, I make sure that like I'm around people that know what's good. I make sure I move a certain way, and I try and understand the environment that I'm in. Do you get what I'm saying? That's just like common sense when you travel anywhere, innit? But what you'll find is that like a lot of people have been on this 5-minute thing where they've recently been to Africa for the first time. They just jump in there, not really knowing anything about the environment or how the people are. Because a lot of times I give people some advice. When you're trying to set up business in Africa, before you set up business in Africa, yeah, it's always important to like sit down with the people in the region that you're interested in business in and speak to them to get an idea of like what they want or what they feel that they need. Build up those connections, find out what their mentality is like. Those things help. But a lot of people don't do that. What they do is they run into something, saying, oh yeah, I want to do this, I want to do that. And like another brother said in here, a lot of them are doing it for money. Their initial reason isn't doing it. They're not doing it because they want to help the people. Be real. A lot of times it's because they want to make money and they feel that they've seen an opportunity. They rush into somewhere, they don't really understand the environment that they're in, and then things go a certain way. Do you know what I mean? So it goes back to what was said. There's like a discourse or a lack of understanding between people on the continent and people in the West. The reality situation is when you go into Africa, you can't go there with your same like Western mindset of doing things. Why? Because it's not the West. Very straight, like very simple. So you have to like understand the environment that you're in. When you start to understand the environment you're in, certain things start to make sense. But a lot of times we lack this. So to go back to like the Cape Coast thing, yeah, like what Echo was saying, a lot of what he was saying made sense. And he tried to say, like, he was trying to say, like, you know what, you need to get more information on both sides. Now, for me personally, yeah, that kind of incident is not like, it's not the first time it's happened, innit? Like the local government or whatever will do that if like you're not following through on certain things. It had nothing to do with the guy, whoever being African American or anything like that. So I don't understand why someone would put that out for me in their title and then add in the so-called LGBT thing, which was on there as well. It's like, what? But people are doing it. So for me, it's a thing where like I always advise people, it's best to like where you can exercise patience. And a lot of the time, as Black people, whatever we are, we're too emotional certain times in how we react to things, where a lot of times we help to take a step back, like get information, get an idea of what's going on and analyze before we start putting things out there. But a lot of times we don't do it.
Yeah. Max, let me pass the mic. Let me pass the Sip, because he's been with us. Slip Dub O. Go ahead and unmute yourself. Slip Dub O. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, my bad. What's the deal, Donis? I ain't seen you in a minute. Last time I seen you was in Atlanta. But if I'm reading the title and it's talking about the drama, and from what I'm listening to is like the drama and the stuff that's happening online and how it's messing up our relations. Is that what the conversation is about? Because I was trying to catch it.
Basically, what we're trying to say is about, it's partly about people that move into Africa, from the West, relocating, trying to invest or trying to settle down. What we're saying is not a new phenomenon. It's been happening for years. However, it's only because of social media that's actually exploding this thing, making it look like, certain type of way. But the reality is, as going back to what Max P was saying, in Africa, everybody knows, the government is very easy to bulldoze houses. It's not because it's African American or Hebrew Israelite. They do that all the time. They do that to the local Africans. You'll be building a mansion in one area, they will come and bulldoze the whole mansion on the way and build roads in it. So but it's trying to understand the root cause of those things, not thinking, they done it because they're Hebrew Israelite or they're Americans or they're African Americans.
Okay. See, I didn't know that happened. And I could say this one thing. When it comes to the people here in the United States, it's a lot of ignorance, because they'll say things like, well, you don't call yourself, in Africa, they don't use the term African. Or you got a movement going here, and it's going to create a divide of people saying that they're not African. But then they focus on attacking Africans, Africa, the diaspora, right? And with the racial climate in the United States of America, even though that we've been moving from here, going back to Africa, that's going to pick up. And between right now and 10 years, I could guarantee you go start to see that movement double. Because what's happening, I'm originally from Compton, California, and I'm from Compton, we was like 80%. We down to 30% right now in Compton. There's no city on the West Coast that we're the majority of. We losing everything. They wanted me to learn Spanish just to try to get a job at McDonald's. So now people are coming back to the South in the southern states. This is our last stronghold in the United States, is these southern states. And as we start, and it's starting to happen, that they shipping them and busting them in our communities, like in Texas, they took a school and they using it for immigrants. So it's happening here as well. But when it happened in Africa, or when we do something, it's really pointing at, look what they did to us, and see, this is why we can't go back there. But when a similar thing happened here, because they done built highways through our cities, they done bulldozed, and matter of fact, they got towns that's underwater that they purposely drowned out. So it happens here too.
Right.
It's just that the ignorance, we don't correlate.
Fact.
One thing I wanted to ask is, why is it that other people seem to be able to buy land and property in various African countries, and they've been doing it for years, whether they're Europeans, whether they're Asians, whether they're Lebanese, they're all doing it. They don't have a problem. So
well said, Larry. And this is exactly my point. I'm wondering why, not everybody, but some of these YouTubers have issues with African Americans, their own people, than in fact the Lebanese or this other white, this poor white, we call them, because a lot of them think, because we know that in Africa, when they see a white man, they think he got money. They come with the money to invest. But the reality is, a majority of the white people that come to Africa that you see walk down the street, they have no money. They're looking at ways to make money, right? So these people come to Africa, they settle down, like the Lebanese, for example, they used to come to West Africa, like in Sierra Leone. They get a loan, they come with nothing from Lebanon. You can see them, you know they have no money, right? Even monthly, you can tell the way they live, they have no money. Then in just few months, they got a loan from Barclays or Standard Chartered. Next minute, they've got a house, they've got business running, you know, they've got the local Africans working for them and stuff like that. But you never one time hear African YouTuber talking about that. But they're more likely to focus on their own brothers coming over, trying to eat, trying to do something. Then they make a YouTube videos about them. And then they're trying to bash them down.
Yeah,
but at the same time,
yeah, do you know what that is?
No.
Because there's a difference between when we do it as black people,
that's wrong.
Or whatever, or when other people do it. When they do it, their mentality is very different. Their mentality is, we're going to just do this, whatever the situation may be, good or bad, we're going to make it happen, full stop. Our mentality is, yeah, we'll do it, but the minute something goes wrong, then we're going to start complaining. That's what it is. It's the same thing when you go to any anywhere in the world where you find these same people in black neighborhoods, Lebanese, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Hindus, etc., etc., etc. That's the difference between them and us. When we face a problem, a lot of the time, our first reaction is to say, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore because something went wrong. Where their mentality is, even if something goes wrong, we're going to make it happen. You know how you know this? They don't even speak the language in these countries. Totally different groups of people in Africa to themselves, but they still go there and get things done. So that shows you that their mentality is, we're going to do this point blank. Whether it's we have good experiences or bad, we're going to make this happen. Our mentality is not like that. We have to get to the point where our mentality is like, yeah, I know something might go wrong, but the fact that something might go wrong first time doesn't mean it's going to go wrong second time. That's like how I try to be in it. I've had negative experience with black people, but they never stopped me saying, you know what, I had enough, because I realized that without us, there's nothing else there. We've got to get to the point where we have to literally be obsessed with making ourselves successful.
We have to work.
We're not like that. What happens
we have to
with
work.
Us is, what happens with us a lot of times is, we're all on a successful thing when things are going well for us. But then when things are going bad, I've had enough of him, or I had enough of her. No, we've got to have the mentality that the same way that they're obsessed with making sure that they put their own first, we have to be like that as well, regardless of whether we have a negative experience or a positive one. Once you have that, then you can't be stopped. But deep down, you don't have it. The same way that you'll hear about certain people, black people leaving one country to go to another country, and it's like, yeah, but you're only leaving your country where you was born because things didn't go well for you. It's not because you actually want to go to these countries as your first priority. That's the thing. And when you come across people like that a lot of times, the minute they move abroad to somewhere and something goes wrong, they're like, oh yeah, you shouldn't go there, you shouldn't go there. I think I learned this from traveling from quite young to different places, and I started asking, like, how come other people seem to be able to do it? You know how the Jews move, you know how the Chinese move. A lot of these people, they're on it 100%. It's not like we're only on it when things are going well. No, even when they trip or even when they fall, they're still doing the same thing. And another thing is that what a lot of people tend to overlook is, like, when these other countries, such as like South Korea, etc., built themselves up, there was kinks in the process at the start originally. There's kinks when you're trying to develop or come together as a people in another nation. It's not necessarily always going to go 100% smooth. The key is to sticking with it. Now, had a lot of people that are now trying to get involved in Africa started doing this 30 years ago, like some other people did, there wouldn't be this issue now. The problem is that when other like races of people were building their countries 20, 30 years ago, a lot of us had no interest in doing it. We just jumped on the thing like recently. So the kinks that they were going through and the issues that they're experiencing 30 years ago are what we're experiencing now. The key is to sticking with it, because obviously you can't change the past or whatever. The key is to sticking with it and saying, okay, cool. Certain things might not go well first time around, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop. And what a lot of people forget is, even when you have a negative experience, you can still learn from that. You not succeeding in a business or something doesn't mean you failed. You only fail when you walk away in it, because the experiences you pick up from that negative scenario will teach you how to deal with things moving forward. You learn a lot. For me, I learn a lot more from when I fail at something than when I succeed. When I succeed, I don't learn as much as when I fail. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And once you start having a mentality, you're able to do certain things, innit? So that's like a lot of it where it comes down to. It's just, we just have to be on this. I don't care like what happened in the past. I'm gonna keep doing this. When you start doing it, people around you be like, "Right, this person is like they're serious, you know. Let me see what they're on and let me get involved in it. But a lot of people know. They'll sit there and say, don't worry about these black people. Let them have their fun now. Once something goes wrong, they'll quit because they're quitters. And that's the thing. And a lot of us, not saying all, but a lot of us are like that. That's when you speak to a lot of people that succeeded. They'll tell you, first time around, it didn't necessarily work out, but I stuck with it. We have to be like that. We have to start training our children like that, because that's what other communities are doing. And that's a large part of the difference between them and ourselves. A lot of times we only boost things when things go well. Nah, you have to say, like, you know what, I messed up but last time, but I stuck with it. I didn't just turn on my people because things didn't go well. I stuck with it. I learned from the mistakes that I made and I moved forward. We have to be like, otherwise there's nothing else. So for me, it's that simple. Just keep moving forward, innit? Everyone's got something to offer. Everyone's got a story to tell. Everyone has something that they can bring to the table. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that we're not going to go through negative experiences. Unfortunately, it's a scenario where even when we're developing, there are going to be times when things don't go our way. But the key is to sticking with it. If you stick with it, something will happen for you. And that's what we got to do. So, AL, to respond to what you're saying, that's the difference between them and us. They will keep on it. You've seen how these Chinese are, especially like in African stuff. They don't know, they don't understand the word like quit. They just will not do it. So how can we be less than that? How can we catch up with people if we have that in us and they don't? Nah, you have to fix up. You have to be like, nope, I don't care what happens. If they think that I'm gonna stop because that happened and it didn't go well for me, not at all. Like, keep moving forward. Just gotta break that brick wall down and just keep moving forward. If we don't, then we end up with the situations that we're having now. So, like, yeah, man, I just want to throw that in. But
Yo, fam, you nailed it, you know, for real.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, you nailed it there still, you know. Done now.
What countries is everybody in right now?
I'm from the UK, Bristol.
I'm in London at the moment. I just come from the
Canada, Toronto.
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, as of right now. Alan H. Go ahead, Alan. Go ahead, Alan.
What's up? Yeah, I great show. I hear everybody talking about people's commitment, and that's basically why I want to drive home. It seems to me that a lot of people who you see online who are complaining about being in Africa, they have very, very minor and petty complaints about where they are going, and it's almost as if they expected the featured comforts of the United States when they arrived in Ghana or when they arrived in Sierra Leone, and I just think that's completely unrealistic. You're not, I don't understand why those people have this mentality that every place is America and that you need to have American stuff everywhere you go. And if you have that mentality, you shouldn't go in the first place. You need to stay home, and that goes not just for Africa, but going anywhere, really. That's where the whole stereotype of the ugly American comes from. But if you have an open mind and you're willing to try something new, you could discover some things that are even better than where you left. That's basically all I wanted to say about that. I just, like, there was the one lady who was on there that Wodi Maya had to go save, who was talking about how she wasn't able to find her snacks and wasn't able to find her candies and American candies, and I just thought it was very silly. And if that's the kind of thing that Americans are doing when they go to Africa and what they're expecting, then they really shouldn't come, because they're not coming for the right reasons.
Fact.
I think in those African countries, a lot of the citizens, they experience those types of problems regularly by the authorities. And for you as a visitor who's planning to live there, you just get to experience 1% of what the population experiences on a regular basis, and you flip out. You're going to have a hard time, living in that part of the world. I mean, Dynas goes to different countries regularly, and from time to time, he's mentioned various problems that he encountered. Like I remember when Dynas was telling me when he was moving, I think it was Senegal, through the border
to the Gambia, right.
Yeah, and he wasn't meant to pay, and then they coerced him or basically they wanted a bribe from him.
Oh, so I had no choice. They were going to send me back to Banjul. Like, I had no choice.
So he ended up experiencing probably what a lot of the Senegalese or Gambians would experience, but he took it in his stride. He was angry, but he was like, I guess I'm gonna have to give these guys.
I had no choice. It was either pay. So guys, I have 2 ECOWAS passports. So when you have ECOWAS passports, you can travel. It's 13 West African countries visa free, meaning you don't have to pay a fee or anything crossing borders. So I was leaving the Gambia, going to Senegal, and at the Senegalese border, they were like, "You have to pay 5,000 SAFA." And I just asked politely. I have my, I think it was at the time I had my Nigerian passport, and they're like, "No, you pay 5,000 SAFA now, or you go back to Banjul." And I had no choice. I just paid the 5,000 and kept it pushing. But I didn't pull out a camera and expose. It's just I just paid the 5,000. I kept it pushing. It's just I just think some things aren't worth my time, as far as, because the time I would have wasted arguing, expose, getting everybody involved, I would have already been halfway. I would have already been in Cowlock, which is like 45 minutes, an hour outside of the Gambia Senegalese border. So I just paid the 5,000. I kept it pushing. It's not right, but it's just it's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of stuff that you have to deal with. But I have a question for you, Dinas. Do you find that people, blacks from other parts of the diaspora, who are not American, do you find they have an easier time repatriating?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay.
Well, I would say this: those from here we go. The ones from the Caribbean countries might somewhat, but when we notice all the dramas coming from those from the U.S. and in the UK.
Gotcha.
Yes.
But see, the thing is, I can't. Well, hold on. I can't really say that. I gotta say no across the board. I'm sorry. I just thought of a couple people from the Caribbean who had, so I can't. Yeah, no, not at all.
To be honest with you, me personally, growing up in the UK, I grew up with more Caribbeans than African American. I can, as the UK is mainly Jamaican and other Caribbeans. I think I found African Americans, being around African Americans as well, I find them more tolerant towards Africans than Caribbeans, because I grew up with Caribbeans. I'm speaking it from my point of view, from my own experience. So I know, but however, the Caribbeans have more of that African culture than the African Americans. So them going to Africa, they're already used to that. I'm not trying to put them down, but the Caribbean is not as developed as America. So they're used to, possibly bribery, or used to certain, illegal activities with the authorities than African Americans. Because being African American coming to Africa, you're not used to put money in your pocket and give it to official, because in America that's going to be an offense. Being coming to Africa is a very common thing to do. So that would be a new thing to them. So that's the reason why one of the contributor earlier was saying it's always best to be with the locals, trying to know how things work in the local areas or in that country before you move in.
Hey, Alan, you got a lot of wind in the background.
I was going to mention about when we was talking about the police officers growing up in the city of Compton. I'm talking about 12. Before I even have a license, a driver's license, my license was suspended. And then I was talking about that with a couple of my buddies, and coming to find out all their license was suspended. And this is only happening in the black community. They target us. They was giving me tickets for all types of stuff. And you talking, once I start driving, or even before I start driving, we still on bikes, junior high, we was getting pulled over at gunpoint. That's just normal. It got to the point where it was so normal getting guns pointed at us and them frisking us. Not to mention, I've seen grown men, that the police pull them over, pull their pants down, and put a glove on and start cavity searching, talking about they look for drugs. And this is happening in the United States. Like, people, they like this before all the cameras. They say the cameras and stuff now, but yeah, it used to. I don't know how we go through this here and go somewhere else, and then act brand new to it. That just don't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think when let's just use Ghana for example. The government extended his hand, and the words that were used, right? I think it got to a lot of people's head, and when they get there, they feel like they're in position to say this, get this, and then they feel entitled. So when things don't go their way, that's when all these videos come out. That's when people are complaining. That's when people are saying this and this and that. You know, like a couple of people, when they got to Ghana, they thought they were going to get the drums and dancers, and that didn't happen. They got upset because they just thought that's what everybody got. Again, they got the information just from the net. And that's not how it is. It's not everybody that's going to get that. Special people get it, entertainers and rich people, and but it's not for everybody. But some people think that's the treatment for everybody, and that's not how it is.
People don't realize that they're regular. When you get it in your mind, I'm a regular person, then the world just open up to you. You have to actually work, and you might have to sweep a floor. I mean, what's so bad about it? We have to focus on work. Like I do construction refrigeration, and I was at a plant. Some Mexican guys came over. The father didn't really speak English. The son spoke English, and he was like, "Hey, my father wants to know, do you know where a good Mexican restaurant is?" So here he is coming to Georgia. When he wanted to go and eat, he was specifically looking out for his people to go patronize and buy food. And for me, doing air conditioning and refrigeration, I don't have the confidence that I can rely on my people for my business to stay up. So that's one of the issues with us here. But in the South, like Atlanta, it's way better than the West Coast. Way better. So yeah, we making strides, but a lot of us is going to leave here soon. It's coming. Watch.
Yeah, the confidence, we don't have no confidence in each other. Like, if I'm going to Ghana, my mom is worried something's going to happen to me. I watched this girl that left the States. She was in a neighborhood where there's a lot of gun violence and whatnot. Living with a grandma and a mom. She goes out. Nobody says anything to her. But the moment she got to Ghana, grandma calls and says, "You need to be careful." She said, "Grandma, but there's gunshots every day. You never worry about me going outside and getting shot. But I come here where there's no gun violence or anything like that." She's constantly worried about it, that something is going to happen to her. So the African American, maybe they see Africa in a better light than the African, but the African normally they think negative about the continent. Those that's on the continent also. So if something is bad and you think it's bad, it's bad, you're not going to fix it. That's why people come in our neighborhoods in America. The people come into all the neighborhoods and they're able to make it because they see their potential, they see their value, they know how to make something out of that, which we see nothing of. Right? When these other people come to Africa, they know what's there. But we just think it's a piece of shit. We want to leave and go find something else. But they come like, "Oh, this is here. We could do this." But we don't see no value in ourselves and what we have. And I don't know what we're going to have to do to each other, teach each other, tell each other to start seeing the value. So that's some areas that we need to check because we don't see no value in anything that we have. Every other group.
Hold on, let's pass it. Jonathan Miller, go ahead and mute yourself. Jonathan, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. You even let me finish, and the man is not even ready to talk.
Oh, I thought you were done. Go ahead, Roy Image. Go ahead and finish.
Nah, it's cool. Somebody else can talk.
Okay. Links in the chat room, guys. You're gonna call in after the conversation. Link is in the chat.
But where does this lack of confidence come from? That we're talking about.
We all know where the lack of confidence comes from, bro.
But I know. Well, I know. Okay, let me ask it a better way. It's not that where it comes from. It's that why now do we still have this lack of confidence when the whole world is on the precipice of major changes?
Education.
Where there's opportunities everywhere. You see, there's a new superpower emerging. You're seeing all different kind of things that is friendly towards Africa and stuff like that. Why would we lack confidence in that when everybody else sees it?
Yeah, from what I've noticed, yeah, like sometimes you just have to be honest with yourself, innit? And like when you actually like really like talk to like black people and stuff, and like just ask them, say like, "Are you really on this thing? Like, are you really about this? Are you really like serious about it?" You'll find a lot of times that a lot of us aren't. What you see is that because of our situations, yeah, a lot of the times why not all of us, but a lot of the times why a lot of us will say like, "Yeah, we need to start working together." It's not necessarily because they want to do this. It's because they've been amongst the white man and they haven't been able to get what he gives himself. That's what it is. It's not because they really want to do it. Because when you really want to do this, you realize that you have to do it. You see what I'm saying? And in having to do this, there's certain times when you're gonna have to change your attitude, or we have to change our attitude about certain things, and basically reteach yourself. You have to literally break yourself down and reteach yourself and start asking, okay, what's important? Like, who am I? What am I? Where do I fit into all of this? And a lot of us, we say that we want this, but a lot of us don't. I've seen even like my own family members, certain ones of them, go through the same process. A lot of times, it's because we're so used to like being seen a certain way that we don't have what it takes to change it, generally. But then you have ones that are like, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm gonna do this regardless. And that's what you have to be. Literally, like what I was saying earlier, you have to make this, we have to have a perverse attitude that, you know what? We have to succeed. That's the only way. Because when you have that attitude, when you start dealing with like other black people that are like bringing problems, that doesn't stop you. You're like, yeah, okay, this person, I see what this person's about. Let me stay away from this person. Don't get caught up in arguments, and because they'll put their negative energy on you. And the worst thing is when you're trying to stay positive and you've got others around you that have negative energy and they're screwing up what you're trying to do because of their energy. You just kind of got to like learn that thing where it's like, okay, I see early what this person's about. You know what? Rather than get into an argument with that person or whatever, let me just move away from this and just handle my business. A lot of times it means like your circles become smaller, but when you have that attitude, you start at some stage you'll meet who you need to meet when you need to meet them, and doors will open. Do you get what I'm saying? But a large part of us, a lot of us, we'd kind of like, you're better just, how can I say it? They just kind of like, they're a waste of time, innit? And I'm not trying to be bad when I say it, but you just got to learn to be careful putting your energy on people that only want to bring destruction to what you're trying to do or create a destructive environment. That's the reason why certain times when you watch these videos, you see some of the comments, scroll down the comments, read them, say, okay, yeah, that person clearly has no interest in bringing black people together. They're just to destroy it. Then you got the ones that oppose as black people and come out with comments. And so you've got to start learning how to analyze these things and not get drawn into these things. But regards to what you're saying about why do we have this thing? Because a lot of us have been suffering so long that that trigger that needs to go off in you to say, you know what, this is enough, innit? It won't go off in it. Do you know what I mean? Yes. So what will happen is certain ones have to lead to show the other ones behind how to get things done. Don't worry, when certain things start popping off, those ones that weren't on it before, they'll be running to you saying like, yeah, how do I get involved? But when you're like, you have to, it's like, you know what it is? It's like one of them things where sometimes, yeah, I feel that certain people, there's a fear in succeeding just as much as there's a fear in failing. And sometimes you got to be honest with yourself and say, you know what, I'm not like the rest of these people, innit? I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to lead the way. I'm supposed to do A, B, and C. I'm supposed to do enough to let someone else come from behind and take it further. And for me, my thing is the children, innit? I'm on this because of the children. The children, the next generation, deserve better than what we've had so far. And with the information that's out there now and how to maneuver and everything else, there's no reason why, like, we should be like, I just don't see failure in it. For me, there's enough opportunity out there to show me that we can succeed, especially in the information era. But at the same time, you have to be careful of those ones that want to bring it down, who are not really about it. But sometimes that means you've got to separate yourself from people. But there's enough of us to make this thing succeed. There's there's about 1 billion of us on the planet. We don't need 1 billion people to all be working together. You could just take a portion of that amount of people and make things happen. It's just a matter of knowing the right people, networking with the right people. Things will happen, which is the reason why I was saying before that for people that have only been involved in this whole, like, you know what, I'm looking at moving back to Africa thing recently, yeah, those people wouldn't have had anything to compare it to. But for people that have been been involved for like say 30 years plus or whatever, they'll tell you things, massive strides have been like made in it. It's just that you have to have seen certain situations before to know how things are moving forward. There's a reason why the world is just jumping on this Africa thing. So how can someone sit there and say, you know, I'm done with Africa, when the people that you're worshiping as your gods are obsessed with getting in there? China's fighting over Africa, America's fighting over Africa, Russia's fighting Africa, the people that you worship. And you're sitting there saying, I don't want anything, like, Who does that? Like sometimes it's the case of using common sense. You'll find out a lot of us, we don't have the common sense. It's like the wiring's is messed up in it. So rather than waste time on these people, say, you know what? The best way I can help these people is to like not deal with these people, deal with people that are on it. When you start putting yourself around people that think like you, things will happen. Doors are open and things will happen. But you can't, a lot of times, you have to stop looking at all of us like, why are we doing it? They'll mess everything up for you. Do you know what I mean? It's not nice to say it, but I'm just being honest. So that's my experience. Anyway.
When people are going back there, they're just going there. Sorry, when people are going back there, they're just going back there to look out for themselves anyway. What is this, some supposed nationalistic thing where they're propping up the African country? They want a good life for themselves.
True.
They couldn't get it in whichever country, so they said, okay, let me try this African country. They want to have their land, have their house, have their job, their dog and their wife and their kids. It's really about themselves. So which is fine if you want to look out for yourself, but if things suddenly go bad, why do you want to jump on a nationalistic thing and then say, oh, this country is suddenly against my people? I don't get that.
That's dumb, because it's not the case. Like when you're on the ground, you speak to it, it's not the case. The thing is, though, it's like what with us, it's like one bad experience or one bad person means that the whole country's bad. You see what I'm saying? And that's the problem. It's like, what do you mean that because you could have been a screw up, but because you screwed up, it means that everyone else that comes is going to screw up. I met people from like America, I met people from like Canada, Jamaica, that are in Africa, and they're doing cool. It's just that they're not on YouTube like bigging up their stories. They're busy getting on with what they're doing. You see what I'm saying? It's this whole like YouTube, like Instagram thing that kind of it's helped, but at the same time, as much as it's helped, it's caused a lot of problems in it, because you've got people that like, because I had a bad experience, that means that if you also do the same thing, you're gonna have that bad experience as well. And it's very simple. If we have the attitude of black people that, you know what, I'm gonna wake up in the morning and like, despite everything I can do with my day, I'm gonna go on YouTube and start bad mouthing other black people. You deserve, like, can we be surprised that people look down on us like? Do you know what I mean? In 2023, like it's just dumb, innit? But this is what a lot of us want to do. So you'll find that a lot of our issues are because of our own, innit? All it takes is just having a little bit of humility and understanding people. People ain't perfect. When you sit down, you be like, okay, cool. This is what I want to do. How do I do it? Or like, how can I help you? And blah, 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 blah. Just build connections. Things work. But a lot of people don't do that. They just want to run into somewhere, not knowing anything about where they're going. And like you said, it's about them. Like real talk, you see it a lot of times. It's about, oh yeah, I'm building this and I'm building that, and this is the house. I look at some of the houses in it. Like don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna lie. Like my house is quite big in Ghana, but I'll be honest. I look at the houses and I'm like, raw. The house that they're trying to build in Africa is twice as big as the house they'd ever have when they were in America. Literally, they're not building like a standard house a lot of the time or a standard property. These are like mansion-looking buildings that they're trying to build. Just go like on YouTube, you see them. So you're like, raw, like, do you really need this house that big for you and your partner? Sometimes it's them alone. So then you start looking and thinking, why? Like, sometimes it's about just being practical about certain things. And a lot of us, we take that like dream, like the dream of what we had in the West, we take it to Africa, expecting to create the West in Africa. I don't want the West in Africa. I want Africa to be Africa in it. Just move in a certain way. There's certain things that we can pick up to use to our advantage that we've picked up in the West, but I'm not trying to recreate America or Europe in Africa. Like it's stuff like that. It's the mindset a lot of times, and I don't know, innit? That's what I see. I can only speak for myself.
No, but I mean, you nailed it. Like,
I don't think there's anything wrong with people leaving their home country and then trying to imitate the life that they have in a new country. Black Americans, we go to Africa. We're not African like the traditional local Africans. You see, when Japanese people go to America, they have Japantown. They don't make it look like it's America. They make their structures exactly the way they have it in Japan. The Chinese do the same. The Italians do the same. Everyone does that. Even Ethiopian restaurants, they make their restaurants look exactly like they have it in Ethiopia. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Black Americans wanting to go to Ghana and try to have the same lifestyle that they have.
Yeah, but yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yes, there is.
Not
I'll
wrong.
tell you why.
Yeah, just to feed.
Yo, let the man speak. I want to hear what you gotta say.
Let him finish, please.
Yeah, can I just respond to that quickly? Yeah, Jonathan.
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Sorry, just to quickly add to that. A lot of what they're bringing from America is not even African American though. The houses that are built, the massive houses in America, based off of white Americans' designs, and bringing them is not the problem. What I'm talking about is you're bringing something you're specifically to trying to create American only America. You're building a restaurant, cool, but like when you start bringing a mindset that this has got to be America, that's where the problem is, and you're gonna have problems doing that. There's nothing wrong with building a restaurant or whatever like that, but at some stage, if you're looking to stay somewhere long term, you have to learn to integrate to a certain extent. This thing about say, I get you, like as an African American, you may not necessarily know specifically where you're from, but all this a very simple way to solve a lot of problems is just trying to connect with people. When you try and connect with them, you can generally do what you want to do. The problem is when you're trying to do something and you're not like connecting with the people in the environment that you're in. That's more of the issue as opposed to like building something. Because when you start doing that, they'll actually help you with your idea or what you're trying to do. It's the idea of not connecting with the people in the environment that you're in.
On that note, I agree with you.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was trying to say. I was going to say that, you know, the example I gave where you're coming to Ghana and you're asking for American food, American treats and snacks and candy bars, and it's like if you really were that connected to those types of experiences, you should stay home instead of just experiencing something new and trying to integrate yourself, because you're going to have to. I mean, to expect, only Americans expect the place they're going to be just like where they left. And it really is really an annoying quality that my fellow Americans have. And Black people, as we're finding, Black people are not immune to having an ugly American mentality and going abroad and causing issues surrounding it over small things that don't even matter.
Yeah.
No,
Can I come in,
mean,
please?
I don't think the lady said that's the reason why she wanted to leave Ghana was because of snacks.
She highlighted that.
I do want to make it clear. I have not been to not one African country in which they don't have practically the same food as snacks.
Hey, all right.
I've been to one.
Let me speak a bit. So, as an African, hey, you know what? The thing is, you know, we should not, I think in general, right? I think Black people, we kind of put a lot of burden on each other, right? Well, if there's nothing wrong, if some African Americans want to come to an African country and they somehow want to recreate some of their lifestyle, I don't see anything wrong with that. For example, in Zimbabwe, all over Kenya, South Africa, there are neighborhoods that are proliferated with, say, Indian people of Indian origin, right? And
no, we lost you, Moochie. Guys, do me a favor, hit the like button and I'll put the link in the chat room if you guys
like from what Moochie said, that's not actually what we're talking about.
Just hold on, please. Just hold on.
We don't talk about Indian diaspora.
Just hold on. Let me continue, please. Okay, so that's one thing, because you know what, people have freedom. So you know what, let's not be too romantic about this stuff. About, you know what, there are some African Americans that will come to the continent and want to, you know, integrate with the community and live like that's well and good. I would love that too. But if there are some that just they want to be on the continent and they still want to, you know, build mansions, whatever, as long as they're good citizens, not breaking the law, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, let me make my last contribution, please. Then you can come in. Yesterday, Dinas, you were talking about the stuff that happened in Ghana. Okay, I want to tell people and warn people very clearly, especially people in the diaspora that are not too familiar with Africa. Okay, in Africa, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Okay, one thing I want to tell you specific: don't do anything that is outside of the law. Right from you, they will turn around and they put the screws on you, and you can lose your property, you can lose your investment, and all kind of things. Okay, and this other thing about, oh, maybe these people were not paying taxes for 25 years. That's all baloney, because if it's true, the government should have acted all along. Okay, the problem in Africa is this: you, especially if everything was not on the up and up, right? There's people who have the intel, right? They know there's something that is wrong with how these properties are acquired, or something hasn't been paid. They will do something so that they will take
your property outside legal means. Because you know what, if the Ghanaian government, for example, that was very bad PR, right? If you raise down such a building, right, if there was something truly wrong, the Ghanaian government should have come up quickly to say, hey, to dispel all these rumors and say, hey, this is ABC, this is why we did it. Because it should not just be.
That's not a government issue. This is not a government issue.
Wait a second. It should not just be.
It's not a government issue.
Wait, it's not just like incumbent on the people whose property has been raised down to say, no, we've been doing this. The government, whoever who did that, should have reasons sufficient enough to explain why they had to do that. Okay.
You make a police report. You take it to court.
What are you talking about? Police report?
So how is the government
authority? What was the legal basis to bring down to destroy the building? So there has to be legal reasons to do that.
Moochie, just quickly, yeah. It's not that what you're saying is wrong, yeah. But first of all, yeah, it's not the government's job to come onto YouTube and start going through the details of a certain scenario with regards to the property. Secondly, as well, yeah, it's like I was saying earlier, it's a case of having enough information. All you heard was one side. Now, what you need to do is acquire enough information on the other side to make sure that before you come out with what you're saying, that they're not looking into it. Just because they're not on YouTube spinning off videos about how they're going to resolve the issue, it doesn't mean that they're not doing the correct things or the legal things that they need to do in order to resolve it. That's the problem.
Are you suggesting to me that these people are fools? Because you know what? Okay, if everything is legal, right? Wait a second. If everything is on the up and up, somebody should come with a piece of paperwork that says we are taking down this building for A, B, and C.
But Moochie, that's what
we don't know that.
Yeah, who told you that?
Hold on, let me interject. Moochie, yesterday, hold on, let me interject. Moochie, yesterday, a representative of the Hebrew Israelites called in, and what he said is that the notices were being mailed to their former address, and they had moved, or to a former office, an old office address, and they had moved, and they should have sent notices to the new office. And my response to him,
did they update the new address?
Exactly. That was my response to him. It's not the government's job to figure out your new address. You're supposed to go to the CAC, or here in America, you go to the Secretary of State. Mooch, let me finish. Or here in America, you go to the Secretary of State, and you're supposed to update your address. And he didn't have an answer for that.
All right, okay, Dennis, assuming that is true.
I'm just telling you what he told me. He called in.
I'm posing a question to you, okay?
You're saying Moochie's talking. Right? Moochie's talking as if to say that one.
If somebody's delivering legal correspondence, right? If it went to the wrong address, are you telling me until the property is destroyed, there was no attempt to actually talk to a person? They could not contact you. You can have a wrong address. They didn't have a number for it.
What are you talking about?
Can I tell you one thing? Yeah, and Max P might actually agree with me here because he lives in the UK. It's in the UK. They just passed a law recently, and this is a country that we claim to be one of the most lawful and civilized states in the world, right? They just passed a law that if they suspect you a certain person that's threat to the nation, they could remove your passport from you anytime. But the time they remove the passport, they will actually make sure you're out of the country, and also they do not have to have your updated address to remove your passport from you.
Basically, yeah. I work in housing as well, yeah. Moochie, just to respond to what you're saying, yeah. It's like it's not for them. Even in I don't actually live in the UK, but I spend half my time here in Ghana. It's not for them to run you down, chasing up your address. They don't even do that in the UK. I work specifically in housing. It's like if you ain't told them your up-to-date details, that's your problem. You know what I mean? It's not a personal thing, and it's not a personal attack. The same thing happened to them could happen to Ghanaians as well. So even if that is wrong in your eyes, it's not like it only affects them. They treat everyone equally the same. I did go over that prior to you.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Earlier.
But what I will say, defense to them, it's not their job to come onto YouTube to start justifying what they did in their process. Fair enough if you want to put something on YouTube saying, okay, this happened to someone in the community and blah blah blah. But you can't expect to actually have the other side come out and do the same thing. But just because they're not posting videos, it doesn't mean that they're not trying to resolve the issue. which is what the people that actually looked into the case and had information on the case properly were actually saying. It was being addressed. It's just that they weren't posting videos on YouTube for everybody to see. So I'm not saying that you're wrong, Muchi, but just so you know, the law is not such that they're supposed to hunt you down to get your up-to-date details. That's whether you like it or not, or whether you like it or not, that's the law. But even if that is a hindrance in the law,
Max, sorry to interrupt you. Muki, sorry to interrupt you. Someone in the comments saying they're from the UK, and that's not true. I tell you what, if you're not in the UK right now, you cause some really serious trouble. Be careful, because last year they passed a law. Max, you know that, right? They can withdraw your passport. They don't have to notify you, at your current address.
Let me pass it to V. Go ahead, V. V is that name. Go ahead, V.
Oh, hi guys. Good evening or good afternoon or wherever you guys are. I'm just listening to your conversation, and I just want to add briefly. All that you're saying is very, very interesting. The problem with us is we know what our problems are, but the solutions are, not coming forward. With regards to people going over to the continent, and maybe you go to one particular place and you have an issue, I always say that Africa is a huge continent with huge landmass, and also different cultures, different people. And if you go to one place and it might not suit your liking, you probably try somewhere else. Be a little bit adventurous. I'm talking to our diaspora brothers and sisters now. Be a little bit adventurous and try somewhere else. You might find a place that perhaps will suit you very much. We talk about other people coming to the continent. They come with a mindset, they know what they want. They are just coming there to take. They're coming there to take. And that's it. They don't want to contribute nothing to the Africa. You have to go back into history. If you look at history for, say, 2,000 years, I know it's further back, but it is still the same thing happening now. The continuation of that starting, it is still continuing. Because we haven't learned anything. They all came in to take. Say, I'll go back a little bit and say, look at the history of the Empire Ghana. You know why it was attacked? Because they realized there was gold there, and Ghana, as a little was an empire then, was besieged for over 20 years. And these people, they know, and this is what they're doing to us now. We as a people have to reset our mindset. They come in, they don't care, who they sort of trample over. They just want to take what they want. You have certain communities, I don't want to mention names, because if you do that, then people think, oh, you're targeting someone. They come in, as a brother said earlier, they come in, sometimes they even come in with no money. They will come in and they will come to maybe for instance, some of their communities are there, they will join in, they will find out, oh, this is what is working for us. Let's go into that trade. Let's go into this business. And somehow along the line, they'll probably work for that community or work for a family, or maybe they came as a family member, they work within a family, and within, say, 2-3 years, they set that person up, buy them a house, and off they go. And we come on, we put all our business on the internet. I used to watch some of these YouTubers when they came up, and I thought, this is good. They'll be teaching people, they'll be educating people. But now it's so saturated. It's like everybody's out there for the likes, for views. I don't know what they're trying to achieve now, because one little thing happens somewhere. I know for you that's happening to you, it may be not little, but if you look at it in the scheme of things, it's probably very little. And the whole thing got blown up on the internet. Nobody bothers to go and do any checks on it. And they then go on a tangent. Look at them, look what they're doing to us. They want to get it is very sad. We should stop it. Africa is a continent. It's not one country. There's so many, even within a small country like Ghana. And Ghana, if you look at the landmass, it's not that big compared to some other countries in Africa. Even within that small space, you will find so many different diversities in there. So look at it with a broader point of view Don't just be narrow-minded and go there and look for trouble. As you said, if you've traveled a bit and been out of Africa and go to other places, there's corruption everywhere. Unfortunately, ours is in the face. It's always in your face and it's irritating. I know. I have faced it. Believe me, I've worked in Ghana. I've faced it sometimes when I'm going to certain places. My own family will even tell me, we don't want her there because I'll cause trouble. So they'll put me out and then they'll go into the place and deal with it and come back out. You have to learn how to maneuver. You go to a place you don't know. Don't just go in there with your mindset, oh, I came from here and I know what is right and I'm going to tell them what is right. You have to observe, learn, and then start to maneuver. And then from there, also get people that can truly help you. There's too many scammers around, and the scammers are not just Africans. They're also diasporans. They're scamming. You know?
Do you think?
Yes.
Ghana is
do you
doing
think?
well for the diaspora? I mean, Ghana, Sierra Leone, one of the two countries. You can't criticize them because they're really hospitable to everyone. I mean, a lot of West Africans, in fact, go to Ghana to make a better life. You know what I mean? Not only just the diaspora. So we need to give them credit for some of the jobs that they're doing.
I was going to ask, could this, especially with the show that Dynas did yesterday and what he's doing today, could this be the start of the end of the honeymoon period between Black Americans and Ghana?
No, it shouldn't be. It's never been, because believe me, when I was a young girl, I have a family near the Cape Coast area, and I used to see diasporans coming. And I used to, you notice them, especially the women, I noticed straight away because they dress in a certain way. You see women, those days, women in their 40s, 50s, maybe a bit older. But the way they dress, immediately you would know that they're diasporans. They used to dress very smart, beautiful women. They had, our mothers, we all know how our mothers used to, I mean, I'm starting to dress, I don't know because I'm getting older. But our mothers would dress in a certain way, we put our traditional cloth and a head tie and all that stuff. And you see these women, they will dress immaculately, have their, beautiful dresses on, hats, and speak very politely and so forth. And they used to come there all the time. So I'm used to seeing them there. But there's a certain generation now, I don't know where they're coming from. Their mouths, especially, I know I'm focusing on women because sometimes our culture allow men to get away with their little. I mean, in Ghana, I'm just saying this to educate people. Nobody should think that I'm having a go at women. In our culture, African culture predominantly, men will get away with a little bit of this and they behave in a certain way. So they're men. But if a woman behave in a certain way, they will not let you get away with it. And you find some of these girls that the way I just don't. You do that. Those people, men or young people that they're there, they'll think, oh, you're easy game. Because a lot of the girls that they perhaps come from a certain home won't behave like that. So if they see girls going all over the place, swearing and mouthing off and talking in a, it just creates an impression that it is not needed, So you have to observe the culture that you were in. It doesn't mean you throw away your own. Because when I came to Europe, it didn't mean I throw away my culture, but I observed where I was, and I know they do things in a certain way. I still carried my culture with me, So we need to start learning from each other. It's not going to be a stop the end of the honeymoon. There's a lot of diasporans in Ghana, and vast majority of them are very, very nice, lovely people. They love being on the continent of Africa or even in Ghana. They love what they're doing. Many have set up business. Many are coming in with fantastic ideas. The ones that are on YouTube that they have no business, they have no jobs, and they're there. Oh, well, they hear one thing, let me go and blow it up, and then I'll be getting likes or views, and perhaps I'll get some money out of it. They're the one causing the problem, and they are very small, but unfortunately, with this social media, the word travels so fast, but by the time, people have got really down to the issue of what has really happened, it has spread and it's sort of taken a form of its own and is going around doing all kinds of damage and so forth. But the vast majority that I have experienced anyway are very, very, they love being on the continent. So I don't think so. I don't think he's going to stop. It shouldn't anyway. You know, it really shouldn't. We should learn from the mistakes that is happening from our side, from the diasporans, and then we need to mend things and go along. I keep saying this to you. If we Africans don't focus, we'll be taken again, because people are coming into Africa. If you look at Africa and see how much Africa is contributing to the world, you know, it's shocking. But they tell us we are nothing. We have nothing to offer the world. We have done nothing. But if you take out what is taken from Africa, say even stop the exporting of our resources out for just 1 week, see how the world will change. You'll be shocked. See how the stock market, everything, even you will have collapse. Even some European countries say you take out what they're getting from Africa, within a month, their country will collapse.
Hey, Slip Dub, you have a lot of background feedback coming on here, and that's why I muted you. All right, go ahead, V.
Oh, is it from me? Okay, sorry.
Flashing my mic for next. I was just flashing my mic for next. My bad.
Yeah, as I said, if you take out, say, African resources from certain, even European countries, they will collapse if you take it out for a month, they will collapse their economy will collapse.
100%.
Right? And yet, and we sit there and we let them tell us we have nothing, we don't contribute to nothing, and we have allowed this thing to pollute our heads so much. We have lost focus as people to refocus and realize that continent is there for us. That is the last thing. That is the last thing for us. We lose that, we have nowhere else to go, but maybe go into the sea. Because look at what one of our brothers saying, that what they're experiencing in America. You know, how can he said that, we used to have guns pointed at us so much that it became normal. And I just thought, how can gun be pointing at children and they see it as normal? But that is the environment that they were in. You see, we need to refocus our mind and realize that Africa is for all of us. And we have to be
all of us,
yes.
including African American. In fact, if anything,
everybody,
we need more. We need a lot of decent African Americans to come to the continent, to change our tribalism mindset that we have that's still drowning us in sorrows. Because
don't you think that they'll create their own tribalism?
Yeah, I think it will because you know what, tribalism in West Africa is the reason. I think contribute to one of the biggest factor that we're still suffering.
But
that's the reason why
you have to realize
that's
is
not true.
What you have
it
to
is true. 100%.
What you have to realize is, I'll say that in modern terms, it's changing slowly, but it is changing. Hopefully, with more, next generation, it will get better, because I think the more we learn from each other, But if you go back in history again, we weren't that tribalistic, until the Europeans came in.
Yeah,
when the Europeans came in,
absolutely, I agree with that.
What? Hold on.
Yes.
I will have to disagree.
This is European idea.
Don't.
Let
me tell you something.
West Africa, the Europeans made tribalism worse.
Okay, they made it worse, but it existed and they made it worse. But it existed.
No. You people don't understand. We used to have a code of conduct.
No,
I'm not just saying you. I'm not just saying you. I'm just saying people that speaks like this don't truly understand. I came from a traditional African home, and there's a lot of oral stories that they would tell you. We weren't just always fighting each other. We use diplomacy a lot.
Before fighting all the time.
And people think the Africans were just throwing space at each other. No, we weren't doing that. We will have a discussion. We will talk about it. But when you get to a certain place, we all will fight. The Europeans were fighting.
And we always had our own village court system as well, isn't it? The chiefdom, the chiefs. When we have problems where this tribe and this community and that community can come together, they settle the beef, and they move on, stuff like that. That's the stuff that's been taken away from us, and that obviously been replaced by money.
I'm not saying that they are the only cause of our problem, but I'm saying they contributed to it. They realized that our weaknesses was that when you have certain things that certain tribe will have, don't do, and another tribe, they did the same in places like New Zealand. They did the same in places like Australia. So I don't know why somebody's sitting there laughing at the thought of me saying that. If you look at the true history, look at history properly. But you know, we talk about Africans fighting. Look at even the UK, their history. They were fighting like cats and dogs. They fighting like
They
every
just
minute.
stopped World War II. Even right now, Russia and Ukraine,
You
they've
know what I
always
mean?
been fighting. But we never
So,
talk about it.
What are you talking
but
I
about?
have a question.
We were
May I
like,
ask
can
a
I
question,
get in?
please?
Can I get in right there? When we start talking about tribalism and getting rid of it, we don't need to get rid of tribalism. We have to restructure tribalism, and we have to restructure it to work for us. And one of the ways to really see how it, because Los Angeles, California, in the United States, very tribal. There was certain stores I could not go to. There was places of the city I never seen, and it was people in the city that I didn't deal with at all. And Compton is only 10 square miles, and we only lived in a small portion of it. But now, when I say restructure it, the prison system, when these very same men that was killing each other in the streets went to prison, it was racial. If everybody should just watch a video on California prison politics, just listen to some of that. The whites, the Mexicans, the blacks, they got certain phones they use, certain toilets they use, and you better not use their phones, toilets. It'll be a war. So the things is, they understood, they separated their resources, they separated things. And as Africans, we are too damn nice and too forgiving and always want to love something. We got to get very African
That's our
tribe.
nature as black people.
We got to fight that nature. We got to fight it.
All right, go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
No, I was gonna say I don't think we have to fight it really, because that's just who we are. We just gotta know how to work it. You know what I mean? Like to be loving and to be accepting of people. Like that's just who we are as black people. You know what I mean? We don't have to change who we are. We just have to be more organized as a people and start fighting amongst
Good luck with that.
I think what the problem with black people is we're just too disorganized. You know what I mean? Well, like it's almost.
And I 100% agree about us being disorganized. But at the same time, I don't watch people have fights, and then the person that was getting beat up actually started it. And as they started losing, they played the victim. But when they got in a position of power again, they attacked. And they got a particular group that does that. All they work that to perfection. They play the victim, then attack. So yes, we could say that that's how we are. That's what getting us killed. But we not like that with each other. When we'll take our love away from each other.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yep.
And
I think
like another thing that we need to like really fight, and if it's the first thing we fight, and we got to do this globally, is our image. We can't allow somebody else to dictate and tell our story.
Mm-hmm.
We have to fight against that story. Do not buy dashikis from Koreans. Do not buy soul food from somebody that's not of the soul, not of our cloth. We buying our culture from other people, and that's a problem. So all that loving and lovey-dovey Pollyanna humanity, that shit over, homie. That gotta go. It's African or nothing.
I think,
and if God don't like Africans, God could go too. It's African or
I'm
nothing.
with you now.
All right, listen. Go ahead, John. We're to close
I was
out.
just gonna say, I just think we need to assume our position on a our rightful position on the global stage. You know what I mean? Because when you think about Africa, Africa is the mother of humanity. You know what I'm saying? Like Africa birthed all of these different nationalities, all these different races, is because of Africa. You know what I'm saying? So if we allow Africa to continue to be disrespected, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna black people everywhere. We're gonna always be at the bottom. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna always.
I hate to cut you off, King, but we gotta stop that too. We didn't birth all humanity. If we keep saying that, then they gonna feel like they have a right to Africa. No, forget that. We don't care about them where they've been birthed. No, sir. Only Africans.
Quick, just before Diners close.
I feel like we shouldn't give up our nature, bro. Like just because we're loving and accepting people,
I agree.
We don't have to give that up. We have to know how to. We just know have to know how to give it out.
I love you, homie.
And especially we have to internalize it too, because what I noticed with black people is that we tend to be loving and kind to more like you were saying. Like we tend to do that to other people, but we are more harsher on ourselves. You know what I mean?
That's exactly
we were taught that way. See, we've never been in a position for about, let's say, 2,000 years, been able to educate ourselves. We've been educated by other groups of people.
Look at 90% of the African artifacts in Europe. You know what I'm saying? So we can't even really teach our descendants the true history. We going off of what they told us.
Yeah, like the Benin stuff. It's only recently that's been brought back to Nigeria.
They put us in a position they having us in a position that we think we are a young nation. Like Ghana's like, oh, we're 66. If going by the history, we've been here before everybody. So how are we now the youngest people on this planet? So that being said,
there were kingdoms before all these countries came about, and those kingdoms, some of them were very old.
These are all the ways they have us thinking like we're babies. You see. So that being said, the whole world, every race of people, every group of people have the same mindset when it comes to us. So physically we're fighting, mentally and spiritually we're fighting. They're all fighting the same battle when it comes to us. So we need to understand that.
And we're not united. We're so disintegrated and so weak as a race. I mean, from our base in Africa.
So anytime those people come in contact with us,
we're so easy, it's like come and get us. Because I mean, someone only got to look at us on the internet and look at the African, talking to themselves on the internet, and you can see there's nothing changes. They can just come in tomorrow and just take over the whole continent again. Nothing is going to stop them.
Definitely.
And I tell you what, there's some black people in Africa that will be welcoming them with two hands. But I tell you what, they would rather the African American die on the sea, crossing the sea, coming back to the continent. This is how sick some of our people are, and it's about time we start realizing that. And as Max P was saying, we need to stay away from this sort of people. There's so many good people out there. There's so many good black people. There's so many black people that want to do stuff, and there's so many other black people that do not want to get there. So stay away, sideline those that don't want to get there. Don't talk to them. Have nothing to do with them.
All of us need to understand
on the people on your level.
Children. Let's educate the children. We are not going to change anything. As much as we think we're going to change something, we're not going to change anything. So we need to focus our resources, our minds, and the information that we have, and empower the children and give these information to the children. Because all this information that we have now, that we have acquired, we weren't given from early on. So we need to understand, for any of us to make any proper dent in this battle that we're facing, it's a global thing. The whole world is never going to allow Africa to be in a position that we want it to
of
be.
unity.
That's the end of everybody.
They benefit from our dysfunction, bro.
Yes, that's the end of everybody.
Well, when you said we're not going to change it, that's false. I changed my name from a European sounding name to an African name. I changed my children's name to an African name. That's a major change when it comes to a family now.
For sure. I'm not. I'm saying on the individual level, we're talking.
That's a good gesture. I wouldn't call that a change. Groups, that's more like a gesture than a change.
As a group?
No, sir. This is what you have to understand now. So when we start talking about families, like for example, the Zulus, right? The Zulu was named after a king. His father was a king, and he separated to the Quebe and the Zulu. The Zulu got named after a man, a whole tribe. So Shaka, fifth great grandfather, name was Zulu. So that change could be an empire down the line. So now in the United States, when you go through the rolls and you looking up these names to try to find out what family you come from this tribe, and it's African. That's a change, King. So when we talking about changing ourselves, we first have to change the way we address things.
Change our
mindsets.
Yes, Amos and Wilson said we have to redefine things. So we got to redefine and give things definition. And when you start getting, just like the term gay, right? So it was happy at first, but what you call the gesture is now a whole movement. So the thing, it depends on what are we going to do with these things that you call gestures. And that goes back again to where I'm like in prison. If you cause trouble for us, our own, you get disciplined by us. We have to first decide what we want to do, and it could start with just this group. With this group, go out wherever you are. We make a similar group. We stay in contact, and we have a code of conduct for this group. Now we on different continents in different places with the same code of conduct. It ain't hard. It's easy to do. We just got to implement it.
You right, bro. I got a whole Telegram group with Afrosphere's Telegram group. It's like 25 of us from all throughout the world. You know what I'm saying? People from Kenya, the UK, you know what I'm saying? Ghana, Nigeria, US, you know what I mean? But we just come together, we bond, you know what I mean? We interconnect, share information, and you know what I'm saying? We don't need to hold the masses to change. You know what I mean? We just need a small group of people to make things happen. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually the rest will follow. That's what I believe.
Right.
No, the rest will get conquered.
Hold on. I just wanted
We
to
got to
make this
conquer
point.
them.
I just wanted to point this out, right? Somebody was saying how we need to separate from the people that don't really want to, rock with Africa, whatever the case may be. That's a fact. Yo, bro, I'm African American, right? I get so much flack from the FBA cult, bro, because it's all a cult, bro. Honestly,
Jokers.
I get so much flack from them, and it's just like they don't want to accept no type of accountability. And what I've realized is these specific people, they want to harp on the slavery. It's all about that, bro. That's what it boils down to. Oh, they sold us into slavery. Da, da, da. Bro, you did not get sold into slavery, for one. For two, it was Africans that sold Africans into slavery. So this is just history, bro. We can't keep harping on history, bro. Because if you look at in the US, they using slavery, they using this race thing and the slavery to keep us divided, honestly, bro. To keep us down, to keep us in the victim mentality, bro.
Yeah.
That's all it boils down to.
But
bro.
you see,
I agree.
And I'm tired
when
of
it comes
so we definitely need to separate from those type of people. It's like separating the sheep from the goats, man.
Don't drown me don't keep drowning me on the same stuff. I just want to move on now. I already had the history and the stories. I'm going to act on it. So let's act on it. Let's move on and change history instead of just sitting there with your eye closed, crying all the time. Just looking down. You're never going to get nowhere in life. It's just basic, innit?
With regards to even going back to history and talk about enslavement of Africans and so forth, I mean, even if you look at it, Africa came off worse both ways. First of all, not only did we lose people, we lost. There was a story that I read, about two Igbo people, Igbo brothers. Now they were both apparently they wrote a story. It's a true story about people that were captured and end up in slavery. Now they wrote. The story goes that the two brothers were by the riverside and they were captured and they ended up in slavery. Now they were taken to when they were captured, they separated them. So the brothers didn't even know where each other were, but they knew they were captured. Now the one brother was on a plantation somewhere in the Caribbean, and he saw his village priest was also on that plantation. He just saw, "You were captured too?" He said, "Yes. But your brother too were captured. And I was in another plantation some years back and I saw your brother there." He said, "Really?" So they started communicating. I don't know how they managed to write a letter, but there was actual letters that they wrote. And he wrote to his brother that if you get this letter, and the last letter he wrote to his brother, he was planning his own suicide, that he can't cope with this anymore, he's going to kill himself. And he was talking about how his mother would have felt knowing that his two sons were taken like that and so forth. So if you look at the tragedy of it, it's a tragedy on both ends. The tragedy that your ancestors, when they got to their face, the tragedy of the families that lost their loved ones they faced. So it's a tragedy for the whole of Black people. And I know it is something that we need to learn from and move and sort of deal with it and move on. I'm not saying throw it away. You can't do that. But we need to learn. But these people keep going back and say, "Oh, they sold us into slavery." I didn't sell anybody into slavery.
Exactly.
I probably have ancestors that were also taken that ended up there.
Yeah.
So
they're not looking at it from a logical standpoint.
We need to learn to move on with our history and learn to find a way to work together. That continent is a beautiful continent.
Very beautiful.
And if we get ourselves together, we can create beautiful things on that continent instead of having detractors among us and people that want to exploit us, and they're still exploiting us today. That's all I have to
I
say.
just want
So
to
you guys
commend
have a good
the
evening.
gentleman that were able to change your name. That's a big plus. Much respect for you guys for being able to do that. A lot of people need to be able to do that, because I always say that connection to the motherland, the names need to change. And I always get in trouble when I say that. So big up to you guys for being able to do that, because moving forward, your children are not going to have those slave names. So much respect for you guys, to you guys.
Hey, your brother from Cali.
They also said that I won't be able to get a job with a name sounding African. This is why a lot of people
don't
listen to
That's
them.
bullshit. I changed my name and listen.
Hey, look, I'm at work right now. I'm at work right now, bro.
No, listen.
Much respect to you guys.
Let's do this. We're gonna go ahead and close out. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Mirror, search for Huru. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you, Dynasty. Thank you.
Peace.